What is up, YouTube? We are back once again with a brand new movie breakdown. This week, or I guess just this video, we're going to be talking about The Backrooms. Super excited about that. Again, if you guys do not know much about the channel and where this is your first video, obviously welcome in. But basically, just kind of like a short little breakdown of how these review videos work is it's split up into two parts. First part being spoiler free, so it is like a no spoilers. Not gonna say anything that's gonna if you don't watch the movie, you're gonna be like, oh, Josh, why did you not say anything, right? And then second part will be spoiler heavy. Will be spoiler heavy, and that is usually like the bigger part in the video because we go a lot more in depth on everything. So if you don't want any spoilers, I suggest not watching that part. Go watch the movie, and then come back. Or if you really don't want to watch the movie, you just want to sit here and enjoy the video, do appreciate that also. Either way, I just want to let you guys know that if you kind of want like more of an in-depth, like what I do, like line by line, section by section, I do have that as my introduction video. So you guys are interested, definitely go check that out. I also kind of explain a little bit more like why I really enjoy movies, kind of my other things, my plan, a bunch of that other stuff in that video. But if you guys are interested, definitely go check that out. All right. Also, as you guys know, I'm trying to catch up on my movies because I have like a list of movies that I've been trying to make the reviews for, write my reviews. So this is the fifth video. Oh, sorry, the fifth movie out of the last four. Or I guess I have four more. Okay, the correct way I would say is I have four more movies left until we are caught up, and then moving forward, there will be at least I'll try to have a movie like every week, and then maybe we can have more throughout the week. We'll see. We'll see. But more on that, in the future. Let's go ahead and get started on this, Johnson. All right. Basically, a synopsis for this film is Clark, a man that has a lot of issues right now, especially with his family, and that he's trying to work out with his therapist. He finds a alternate dimension room that is just all sorts of bonkers. Like you have rooms that just look familiar, that look normal, shit that doesn't look normal. It's hard to describe it like in very few words. But basically, he finds another dimension just with so much stuff going on in it, and he becomes obsessed with it. And so his therapist has to go and save him. And then, for somebody that he doesn't want to leave, he ends up, letting his darkness consume him. And the therapist ends up leaving, but is she really is she really gone? Does she really escape? That's kind of the synopsis I got for you, kind of like without going into much detail. Like I said, this first part is spoiler free, but yeah. So in this movie, we have a few actors and actresses. The big ones being Chiwetel Ejiofor and then Renee Ren- Rensve. Sorry if I mispronounced those at all. Um, for Chiwetel, I have seen him, or you guys might have seen him before in Doctor Strange or the Doctor Strange sequel. Some other films that he's really popular in is The Martian. I didn't know he was in that one, but I guess his most popular would be 12 Years a Slave. He was also in the most recent Venom movie, so that's kind of where I know him from. Most of the Doctor Strange and Venom movie. But if anybody else has seen him, that's where the other movies are where he's from. I actually didn't know he was in The Martian until like I was researching about him for this video, and I was like, oh, because I've seen The Martian, but it was years ago, so I guess I never like really paid attention. There's actually a lot of people in The Martian, like when you watch it. So I do want to review that movie on here when we get the chance one day. But like, I'm just saying, like, there's a lot of people in that movie. But anyway, and then Renee, I actually haven't seen her in anything before, but I do remember seeing her like being nominated for an Academy Award this last season for Sentimental Value, which I haven't seen. I do want to see, but I just remember seeing her name and like seeing her, but I had never seen her like prior to that. So there you go. If you guys also don't know who I'm talking about, this guy right here in the poster is Chiwetel. Um, so great actor and actress. But yeah, it's they're the standouts in this film. They also have like the biggest parts. But beyond that, this is also a film directed by Kane Parsons. If you guys don't know who Kane Parsons is, aside from the memes of just being a 20-year-old guy, basically he was a YouTuber that made short films about the backrooms. Now, let me clarify. Okay, let me clarify two things. One, and this kind of goes for like a broad, like kind of like rule that I have for my videos is so much more that like when I do my reviews, mostly there will be they're movie reviews, right? But we will have TV shows, short films and all that. You get what I'm saying? But most of the time when I review like whatever the subject is of the video, I'm reviewing just that. Now, there's always extenuating circumstances, right? Like, not every movie circumstance is the same, but, like, The Backrooms, for example, for this video, I'm basing, my opinion and my what I'm taking from this movie on just what the movie gives us, right? I'm not saying, because I know there are some people that didn't like this movie, because, you know, their version of The Backrooms or what they think their version of The Backrooms is not, in correlation with this movie. And let me just say, the second part is that I know Kane Parsons did not create the Backrooms. I would say he helped make it popular along all the other people online. And this is just his interpretation of the Backrooms, right? Like everybody has their own interpretation of the Backrooms, kind of. But some people kind of come together and you kind of just like make one cohesive version. Sometimes like I don't know in the subreddit or like where it came from. What was the website? It was. I keep wanting to say wiki, but that's not right. But anyway, no, not MySpace. It's the other. Okay. Anyway, I forgot what the website is, but basically, like, it first originated from a photo of like this, empty office room on. I was thinking it was gonna come to me, but it wasn't gonna come to me. But basically, and then somebody kind of put like a little paragraph. I don't really think his name is on there, but yeah. But basically, like people come up with their whenever they saw that in the description, kind of like clip into reality here, and you know, you don't really know what's going on. You're kind of stuck here. And then as years progressed, it kind of got like taken away. People kind of took the reins and did their own thing with it. It got a lot more popular. But one of those people is Kane Parsons. So if you don't know who he is, he sorry, he created his own short films. Well, actually, he started off with like a short film of Attack on Titan, if you know anything about that anime, it's kind of like the last half, the final not the final reckoning, the rumbling. Um, he kinda took, like, that last half and he kinda made it like kind of like a war documentary, I wouldn't say war documentary, but you get what I mean. Kinda like that, like, type of film. But then he kinda moved over into the Black Rooms short films, and that kinda made him popular. And kind of like the Backroom name itself got associated with Kane Parsons. Okay, but yeah, like I said, because I just remembered the name, it first originated from 4chan. That is where it came from. But yes, but yeah. So real quick, like I was gonna say, because I feel like I might have lost some of you right there. But whenever I talk about anything on like the video itself, I'm mostly just pointing like everything that's my opinion off of what's going on. So for example, like we're doing a comic book movie, right? Like, there are some things that, have to like I would say have to be in correlation with like the character, right? Spider-Man needs to get bit by the spider. He needs to have his Uncle Ben moment, stuff like that. But if they change something, it's more of an artistic change, right? It's not so much like, they didn't wanna they left it out, just willy-nilly, right? Or, if somebody, like, creates a movie based off a book, right, it might not be 100% accurate, right? And, they might have to cut some things. So, like, that's not what my reviews are about. They're not about, like, 100% accuracy versus A to B. They're just me reviewing just on the film itself or the TV show itself. You know what I mean? So like that's why I kind of want to say like I'm not coming in here and be like, oh, like, this is not the Backrooms. No, because first of all, I don't, outside of this movie, I've had no like really big experience with the Backrooms. So if you're kind of like, oh, why are you talking about that? But yeah, no. All I really knew about the Backrooms beforehand was that it was just basically just like a room with the yellow wallpaper, and you kind of like just fell into there. I didn't even know the word "no clipped" was a real word, like when it pertaining to the Backrooms. I just kind of figured you like kind of just appeared in the Backrooms and that's it. Which I mean, that is how it works. But there's also just like all sorts of lore, and that's another thing. Like I don't really know any. I haven't seen any of Kane Parsons short films about the Backrooms. So like again, I'm not tying that really in with this movie, and I'm not saying that's not connected. I'm just saying I've never seen them. I'm just gonna judge the movie just off that. But yeah, we got a little off track. But yes, anyway, this is Kane Parsons' first ever feature-length film, especially with the big studio that is A24 who is producing this. So shout out to bro, congrats, you did a really good job. But yeah, so we have the big actors, we got the big director, and like I said, this is A24's I would say at this current time, I think it is A24's newest film. But on top of that, I am recording this, a few months after it came out, but it is A24's highest grossing film, which I think it's almost made like almost five, almost 500. 400 million, something like that. It's I think it's almost 400 million, but it's still like pretty crazy. It's pretty big, and obviously, I think a lot of people know what the backrooms are, right? Some people don't. Everybody has their own niches, but yeah, backrooms are pretty popular, and like I said, I'm just basing it off of this movie. But yeah, I guess into like a brief review though of the movie, because we're in the spoiler-free section. Yeah, it's a really good movie. It's a genuinely good movie, and listen to what I'm about to say. Maybe some people agree, maybe some people don't. And it is kind of like halfway through the year, so I wouldn't say it's like really early in the year, but it is kind of halfway through the year, especially now being in August. To me, this is at least in my top five, maybe top five. Oh, sorry, top 10, maybe top five films of the year. It's a really good film. Like, genuinely. Like, all the actors and actresses just put on, like, a stellar performance. The story itself is not very, like, complicated, and not every movie's story needs to be complicated. Each movie's story works with however well it's supposed to work with its story or its movie. You get what I mean? Like, some things need to be complicated, some things need to be easy, right? Each movie has its own thing. But like, this movie's story is very short and simple, and let me preface real quick. This movie is rated R. It came out May 29th, 2026. And it is an hour and 50 minutes. So, if you're gonna watch this, just keep in mind it is rated R. Now, rated R rating, I would say, is literally just for like a few cuss words and then like blood, like maybe once or twice. Like, outside of that, like, it's really nothing. It's really nothing. But yeah, so that those are kind of like the little factoids before we get back into it. But yeah. Anyway, oh, also, this is a sci-fi slash horror film. We're gonna start adding that into videos now. Like, when we're talking about real quick, like, how long is it? What rating is it? We're also gonna add in like what it kind of type of genre it fits into. And if you're typing in the comments right now, be like, Josh, that's not what it is. It's not sci-fi. It's not horror. Um, I'm just taking it from Google, right? So like, we're not gonna start an argument. I kind of think it may like even fits into the thriller category, like suspense thriller. I don't really like. I guess I could see how it's sci-fi. Like I get it, but like to me, this would be like sci-fi horror and then thriller, or like suspense thriller. Whatever you want to call it. But beyond that. But yeah. Anyway, it's a really good film. Like, the story's really well done, and like it's kind of crazy to see like something with such a simple story be like done really well. Um, like, it's so hard to describe. Not having spoilers in here, but like it scratches just like that weird itch like in the corner of your brain. And every time I've seen it, because I think I've seen it like 3 times now, like I keep falling in love with it more and more and more. Like, it like keeps scratching that itch, and I just like when I'm done. Well, I remember the first time I watched it, I just sat there like I think like in my chair, like in my room, wherever I was, and I just like I couldn't stop thinking about it. Right, like it just boggles your mind, and it like in a good way, like not a bad way, not like right, like it's you like there's just so much like going on, like literally, and then thematically that you're just like wow. Right? Like, this isn't a Minecraft movie where, it's just made for entertainment. Like, there's a lot of care and love put into this film. Like, you could tell. Like, not only from Kane Parsons, but the actors and actresses, to the story, like the screenwriting, to the cinematography, like the set design, like you name it. And like we'll get into that later. But like just there's so much love put into this film, and I'm really happy that one, Kane Parsons got to have a lot of creative control, and two, that A24 took up this film. And I'll kind of get into this later, obviously when I talk about spoilers. But I'm really happy somebody like Blumhouse didn't take this film, because like at their current state, I feel like a lot of other people would have botched this film, right? Because like the backrooms are like such a delicate like I want to say this, like, I don't want to be like, oh, like nobody can do the backrooms besides Kane Parsons, because like I don't think that's true. But I'm just saying, like, I think the backrooms was done so well in this film that I could see other studios like fumbling the backrooms, right? And then like a core part of why I think it's so well done is because the characters themselves are really interesting, right? Because like I wrote this in my actual literal letterbox review, but something the pull for this movie is the backrooms. Like no one's going to watch the main characters, right? Like the backrooms themselves are the household name. Like you might like the actor or actress, because you've seen them before. But I'm just saying, like the pull for this movie itself was the backrooms, right? Like when we go watch Spider-Man, we're watching for Spider-Man, or like when we're watching Transformers, we're watching to see Transformers. We're not gonna care, especially Do- um, Godzilla or King Kong. We don't really care so much about the human story. We care about like the name brand, right? But like here, and I'm not saying in those movies, the human stories aren't important. They are, maybe they're not, 100% the best stories, but here the stories are really good and they're grounded. And when I say that, not like, like, the back rooms are like this crazy, like mystical place, which I would say they are, but they're able to connect the human stories with the back rooms, tangle them in so immensely, like it's it fits so well, like, the characters are grounded with their issues that feel so human, but the Backrooms amplifies it by, like, 1,000, and, like, that's why I'm saying, like, the if that makes the Backrooms feel grounded, but at the same time, they still have that magical, like, mystical sorry, that magical, mystical, like, element, like, creepypasta element in there, and it just works so well. Like, I love getting to see Clark's character versus, like, kinda, like, mirrored with, Dr. Mary's character, like, it is so nice. And that's just, like, on the base level, right? I love it so much more because of the themes that you can pull out of it on a deeper level. Like every time I've watched it, I'm sitting there and I can just pull something new out of there. And that's what scratched my brain too. Like not just like, whoa, this is like a wild movie. Cause it is. It's like I put it on the other night because I was watching it in preparation for this review. And my mom was, kind of like watching it and not watching it because she was on her phone. Yeah, like she wasn't like purposely watching it. Like I had put it on, so like I put it on for myself. And then she was doing her own thing, and she was watching it in between. And then like when I turned it off, she was like she basically was like, "What the fuck was that?" Right? And you know that's kind of like I think what they want you to take away from this film, but there's also like a deeper level, right? Because like it makes you feel like you're tripping on acid, but also like in a good way, right? Like I don't know, I don't like I can't say a lot without getting into spoilers, but it's such a good movie, especially delving into the themes of this movie. Like containment, memory, change, like all of that. It's just like every time you watch it, like yeah, you pick up on the things you picked on last time, but you can pick up on so much more, and it's so deep, right? Like I could be here for like ever just talking about so many things, but like, and then we would never get the video done. But like it's crazy how deep this movie is. And then maybe maybe I'm just, reaching, right? Like who knows? But like I don't know, it's crazy how like deep this movie is, right? And I don't know if that's just because like it is the Backrooms or because everybody in this film like did such a great job. So like that's what I'm saying. Like every piece of this movie is just so well done, right? And we'll get into that later. Like congratulations and thanks to everybody. But like it's such a phenomenal movie. Like I just can't undersell it. Like I just can't like say enough. It's just like it's crazy good. It's crazy good. Now, if you watch it back to back, you might really enjoy it, but you might kind of get like a little annoyed because you're watching the same thing. But like it leaves you wanting more, like in a really good way. Like it's just crazy. It's such a good movie. It's such a good movie. And I wanted to watch the extended cut and I never got to see it. So I will try to see that when I get the chance. But like I feel like even then you wouldn't be satisfied. Like you just craving more. And speaking of which, real quick, whenever we get the chance, and whenever we start getting the ball rolling on this channel, one of the things I want to do is I want to start watching short films. Whether it be student films, most of them are student films, or just people that make short films. And some of those films being, I want to watch those Kane Parsons short films. So I just want to say that real quick. But yeah, this movie's just so good. It's just so good. Um, but yeah, I definitely think, you should watch this. right? Whether it be a Backrooms fan, whether you be a sci-fi slash horror slash suspense fan, a movie fan, just in general, I think everybody should watch this film. Right now, you know, I don't think everybody will love it, right? Not everybody loves every movie. And there's a lot of things where you're just kind of like, right? But for the most part, I think everybody, like, will really, really, really enjoy this movie. But, I have seen, like I said earlier, some people, like, that really enjoy the Backrooms, kinda hate on it because it's not their take on the Backrooms. And, like, obviously, watching this movie, if you're, like, a deep fan of the Backrooms, just, keep in mind, like, this is one person's interpretation about the Backrooms, but I feel like it's a really good interpretation. It's just oh, sorry, it's really good. Like, I'm dick riding the fuck out of this movie, but it's really good. Now, where you should watch it? Personally, I think you should watch it in theaters. Because like, when I first saw it, it wasn't in theaters, and then the second time I did see it, it just amplified everything, like, the sounds, just getting to see it on the big screen. Like, I always advocate for watching stuff on big screen, but, like, I know, in this economy, that's not always the most ideal, but, like, this movie is definitely a big screen movie, and also, like, on top of it only being an hour and 50 minutes, like, you're in and out, right? Like, when you're sitting there, I would say it doesn't feel like an hour and 50 minutes, like, it feels like you're in the back rooms, right? Like, kinda time becomes, like, non-existent, and not in the sense, like, it drags, like, because it doesn't. It just you just are so just involved in the movie that you just kind of forget about that. But it's an hour and 50. It's not that long, right? It's not an hour 30, but it is an hour 50. So like you're kind of in and out, right? Like if you want to have like a date night or you just want to go to the movies, but you don't want to be too late, like perfect movie for that. Now, it was in theaters a long time. Like we're in August. This came out in May, so don't know if it's really in theaters. So if it is, definitely go check it out. But if you don't, like if it's not in theaters near you, I would definitely suggest looking at it on streaming. I don't think it's free yet on streaming as of this time. I think it will be soon. And since this is a A24 film, I'm pretty sure it'll be on HBO Max. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's where all A24 films go. And I would even I would even suggest like renting this online. Like, personally, I'm not a fan of renting films online. I just I don't to me I don't see the point of it. Right? Like if you're gonna spend money on a film, just buy the film. Now, obviously, like everybody has their own like opinion and choice on everything, right? Some people just like renting films, and I guess that is a good, I would say, like especially if it's a good, like a cheap rent, like if it's like 3.99, 5.99, that's something I could definitely agree with. 15, 21.99. Nah, because that like it doesn't matter what the film is. That's just go watch the film or buy the film at that point, right? But yeah, like especially if this movie's not in theaters right now, especially near you, because like we're getting late into the year, the window of it being in the theaters only lasts so long. And I'm actually pretty surprised by how long it was able to stay in theaters, especially with everything that came out this last summer. So props to the back rooms, because it's like out of everything that came out of summer, I would say that probably Spider-Man, Brand New Day, and I think maybe just Spider-Man, because I don't really remember, like, a lot of films that broke big, like, money-wise, that may have beaten Backrooms, right? Like and I'm not, like, trying to underplay every other movie, I'm just saying, like, the fact that Backrooms released in May, like, really early, early before the summer and was able to stay in theaters that whole time is kinda crazy. Because like, there's sections of the calendar year where, stuff gets dropped off and it can last a long time because you don't have a lot of like competitors. Like for example, if something drops, like I would say now the August time before you get in that October time, like late September, there's not really a lot of like good films that I would say compete. So like if you're like a really good film, you can stay in theaters longer, you can fill more houses, right? Um, and I would say like here and then like the January to February time is when studios kind of put out, like, less like, I would say they put out, 1, less movies, but movies they have less, like, you know, ah, how would I say it? They have, like, less faith in, right? Like, and I don't wanna say it's a bad movie for the movies I haven't seen, but, like, you get what I mean, right? Especially, like, the January to November timeline, like, when everybody's, on holiday break. But, like, Like, in comparison to summer, like, you're putting out all your big things. Everybody's out for summer. They're all gonna they all have the time and maybe money to go see your movies, so you put out your blockbusters, right? And then as we get closer to, the holiday season, more people are off, you put out bigger movies, right? And it's crazy how long this movie was able to stay in theaters. But yeah, sorry about the rant. But, yeah, like, it's pretty crazy. Now, obviously, I think there might be some summer films that kind of got onto the same level, and when I say Spider-Man, it's kind of unfair because Spider-Man's about to hit 2 billion, but for the most part, I don't think a lot of summer films hit the same level as Backrooms. Like, I don't even think Minions and Monsters did that well this year, and like I haven't really been follow. I would say Obsession did pretty well, but did that even come out this summer? I don't think so. But yeah, no, like it's crazy how well this movie's doing. So like I said, definitely suggest checking this out. Toy Story 5. That movie did really well. I would say that's probably like maybe and that movie did a lot better than because I think it hit a billion. Yeah, it did hit a billion. It did a lot better, but even like as well as it did, I would say it still kind of felt irrelevant, right? Like it came out, everybody was excited, and then next week, and now, benefit of the doubt, everything that comes out in the summer is like that. Like you get your 1 week, like, oh my god, and then you go on to the next movie, right? You don't really get that time to be like, oh my god, that was such a good film, and then you have that like reaction for the next couple weeks. But you know, um, but yeah, or I guess Mortal Kombat came out, The Devil Wears Prada, those didn't do really well. They did well, but not like crazy well. Moana came out, that bombed. We're not even gonna talk about Supergirl yet because we got her review coming up soon. We do have that review coming up soon. I do want to talk about it. Like I don't think it's as bad as people make it out to be. So I, we'll get into that later. But yeah, I definitely say go check out the back rooms. And what I was trying to get at before I got off on my tangent was if it's not theaters, this is something I would suggest renting. Right. And I don't suggest that. I usually don't suggest that. But like this, I would suggest renting, especially if you just want a movie to watch. Right. Like beyond being a fan of all those different like categories we're talking about, like the genres, backrooms fans, beyond that, a moviegoer, if you just want a movie to put on, put this on. It's a really good movie. It's just a really good movie. I hope that everybody that watches it, after me saying that, I hope you guys really enjoy it, right? Because like I said, not everybody's gonna enjoy it, but I hope you guys that do watch it enjoy it. I hope my opinion does not, yeah, I hope you're not like, oh man, Josh gives shitty opinions on movies. But yeah, no, it's a really good movie. It's a really good movie. Definitely, I suggest everybody check it out. All right, we're moving into that second part of the video. You know what part it is? Spoiler section. Let me say it again. Spoilers. And I'm gonna say it a trust time. Spoilers. This is spoiler, not spoiler free. Spoilers. So everything we say beyond this point is a spoiler for the Backrooms movie. So if you have not seen the Backrooms movie and you don't want spoilers, I suggest I would say pause the video, go watch it, and then come right back. Again, if you don't care, stay. Would love it, but either way. But yeah, we're getting into spoilers. So, uh, like I said, this movie's amazing. There's so many great qualities that like I'm just gonna sit here and just yap about. So I hope you guys enjoy. As you guys all know, when we start this section, we go into kind of like just a whole review of the film. So like that's why I said like we don't care about their about watching it. I'm basically about to say everything that happens in the movie. I would say like 75% of everything that happens in the movie. Like I'm not gonna verbatim say everything, but for the most part, I'm gonna say everything. That way, it makes sense when I like go in depth more on my other parts. But yeah, I'm gonna say mostly everything about the video. All right, so basically, so the movie starts with async. Now, if you don't know too much, and like I said, not really going beyond about like I'm not really gonna talk about the lore beyond this video, but kind of what you get told in the movie is that there is this company called Async, which used to be a company that made MRI machines, which is like the scan of your brain, like the magnetic scanning of your brain. And they somehow came across the back rooms, and that's what they started working on. So that's kind of like your little preface to like what async is. Now, outside of that, if you want to go look up lore and whatnot, I definitely suggest it. That way, it makes sense, especially after I explain the movie and you're done watching this video. Like even I was like, "Whoa! Like what is the lore?" Like I haven't seen it yet, but even I was like, "What is the lore?" So definitely go watch some videos. There's some really cool videos out there. I'm pretty sure. But yeah, so basically, it starts off as an async video, kind of like a found footage video, and it has this async employee from his POV. Um, where he's like picking up this blue package and he's kind of like in this corner of the back rooms and he's like breathing really hard, right? Like he's been like he had been chased. And he's like looking around and then he books it. And he finds this other room where there's like this big table. It has all this like gear, like as if you're like it's like a microphone, record, like tape records, as if like you're talking or recording yourself. And he's like he keeps looking behind him, right? Because he's scared. He like moves like stuff in front of doorways so nobody can get to him. And he's like, hey, do you guys hear me? Because I guess he's talking to other async employees, and he's like, guys, I need you to get me out. I need you to get me out. He's saying that. And then he hears somebody, turns back around, and there's like the dark doorway. It's a horror film. Um, and he's just staring at it. It's quiet, and like this huge noise comes out of nowhere, and he sees this bird fly out, and I think it hits the wall, and it like drops, like it drops dead, but it's not actually dead, and it's just quiet, and that's the one thing about this film. It does quiet really well. It does quiet really well. But anyway, he sees the bird, it drops dead, and then just like that, he just gets back up and starts flying away, and he still kind of like looks at the door and he hears more noise, so he books it again. He's going through all these rooms, and then he kind of comes up to this one room where I'm pretty sure he sees like this like caveman cutout with these like noises. So basically, I'll explain that real quick too because I looked this up online. Basically, the caveman, from what I understood, the caveman cutout is from async that they put around all around the back rooms to lure in a creatures. I don't really know much about the back room, so I'm just gonna like put it at whatever it is. It's basically to lure them out, right? I Like, the way I kinda think about it is kinda like FNAF, right? Like, I'm not sure, like, FNAF is the only game that has it, there's tons of other games, right, where you kinda, like, press a button and you get, like, the person to kinda walk over there, kinda like in the Spider-Man PS4 game, where you kinda, like, put, like a little you shoot something over there, like a web, it makes noise, and the guy like, the NPC's like, "Huh?" And he, like, walks over there. Kinda like the same idea. They put them all over the back rooms, but what you're hearing is, like, an audio, I think, from Voyager, where, like, they're saying, like, "hello" in all the different languages. But anyway, there's these caravans all over the backgrounds, but he ends up coming up across this one room where I think it's like all cloudy and stuff. Like there's painted clouds. Like it's a blue room, like sky blue with painted clouds. And I think there might be a camera. I don't know. But there's basically a door and it's locked and he can't get in. And I think he either hides the bag or I don't know. Basically, he gets attacked by the creature, and like that's kind of like where it shuts off. Like the video itself shuts off. But then we cut we move out of that and we transition into these doctors, these async people watching it on a tape, like on this TV, and it's like zzz, right, like that's the end of the footage. So we cut, I would say, to more present time. It doesn't really state when that happens, it does, but, like, it's kind of, like, all within the same month, I would say. I'm assuming, I don't really know the timeline here. It's like, the movie starts off in June 19th, 1990, like, that's where this found footage thing goes, but I don't know where the rest of this happens. Like, I'm assuming this happens afterwards, like, obviously, but, like, I don't know how much time afterwards, so let's just say, like, a week or whatever. But anyway, we move on. So we're focusing on the main story now. Because we do our little title, the backrooms, and the creepy music. And anyway, we're seeing a young girl and her mom. They're in front of this wet cement, and the young girl puts her hand in there, making her handprint, and then all of a sudden, like all this, debris comes on top of them. Not actually. This is just a flashback as we see uh Renee Renee's character, Renee Rinsve, Dr. Mary, we see her character off to the side, like kind of on the other side of the street. She's watching. She's in front of her car watching, and it's basically her house. So that little girl's her and her mom. She's watching as her childhood home, is getting torn down, right? And at this time we hear Dr. Mary speaking. So you'll hear this multiple times throughout the film, Dr. Mary speaking, and it is from her self help tape because she's a psychiatrist, which we do see in the film. Also, we do see the self help tape, and like I'll say the quote later because I'm saving it. But basically, she's saying that as people, we kind of like follow these habits and they're kind of ingrained in us from childhood. And so like we don't really like we know that they're hurting us, but we don't really change like our actions. We keep like repeating the same movements, waiting for something different to happen, right? Like we're on the same track, waiting for like us to leave, but how are we gonna leave if we're on the same track? But anyway, basically what she says. Anyway, then we cut to Clark, the main character. Like I said, Chiwetel. And he's going into he owns a furniture store called Cap and Clark's Furniture Store. He goes in there, and as he like walks in, he sees a red spray paint on the window, like rip off, right? But anyway, he goes in there, and I love this about the film. They have this like kind of like in the real world, we kind of like this cramped, especially when we're focusing on Clark. We have this like cramped, um, like cinematography. So he's in his office, he's cramped, you see all these like past due bills. Like it's really giving the atmosphere of like, this guy's kind of just like in a dead end job. He's not going anywhere. He's not succeeding a lot, right? But yeah, like the movie does a great job at this. And so after we see, the current situation right now, because like his shop's empty, like no one's in there. Like this is not Costco where people are going coming and going. This is very empty. Kind of really setting that atmosphere that like Clark is at a like not very successful job. So then we cut to Clark at his therapy session with Dr. Mary, and he's like, oh, sorry for running late, wait, whatnot. And she's like, it's okay. And so she's like, do you want kind of want to pick up where we started last time? And so we find out that Clark himself is I would I wanna say recently separated, like, not divorced, but basically his wife kicked him out of his house, and, he's upset about that, and so him and his therapist are working through that, I don't know if there's other things that, they're working through, but that's mostly the focus of this, and I'm pretty sure that's why he's, like, talking with his therapist, and so Dr. Mary, she kinda suggests that they go through this kinda, like, role play scenario where she'll play the wife and Clark will play Clark, like, getting to say something to her that he didn't get the chance to initially. And so she kind of has him, kind of explaining like how it went down beforehand, like what were the, like the setup moments. And he's kind of like, I came home, drunk and I kind of like broke a glass, and then she came down and it kind of started from there. And I really like this broken glass motif because glass shows up a lot in this film, but like just put a pin in put a pin in that. But anyway, so they start doing the role play, and she's like basically, being the wife. She's like, because the wife was sleeping because she goes to bed early because she goes to college, and so he came home late for after work, and he's kind of drunk, and I guess he broke a glass. Maybe he's pouring himself some more alcohol, and the wife comes down, and Dr. Mary, she's like, like that's pretty late. And Clark is like, don't worry about it. I'll clean up the glass. I'm sorry for waking you up. And she's like, how many drinks did you have? And he's like, not a lot. And she's like, well, define a lot. And then Clark kind of like loses his shit, it's a slow like grow, and then it just turns into like Clark just fucking losing his shit. He's like, he basically says, the sum of it, like like, who are you to say something to me? Like, I'm in my own house. I can have as many drinks as I so choose. Like I make the money around here, right? Like you're the one, going off to college. And he's like, who do you think pays for that? I do, right? And he's like, you just sit on your ass and you do nothing. I'm the one that pays for everything, so I can do whatever I want. I can have as many drinks as I want, and and then Dr. Mary's still playing the wife. She's like, don't get upset just because you didn't get to become uh an architect, and he's like, "I am an architect," right? And he's like, "I just have to do all this bullshit because I'm the only one that pays money in this house, right? If you were to get a job, we wouldn't be in this predicament." No, he just absolutely loses his mind. And then I think kind of like time is up for the meeting, and Clark's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to like blow up on you." And Doctor Man's like, "No, no, it's good. Like we got somewhere, we got some headway, right? You got to express your emotions. You didn't just like stay bottled up for everything." But yeah, so that's kind of the end of the meeting. And you're kind of like, "Whoa, Clark kind of blows up a bit. He does." And like I just want to say, like Chiwetel did such a good job acting in this film, like especially when he blows up. And same with Renee. Like they both are able to go from calm to just next level, and it's just so awesome. It's so awesome. I love it. I love it. I love it. But yeah, so kind of the next thing we move on to after the meeting is we see Clark back at the um back at his store. He's back at his store, he's dealing with his things, and then like the repairman comes, and the repairman's kind of like, hey, you said you need something fixed, and he's like, yeah. So they go downstairs. So I have never seen a store like this, but I think I have seen like I've seen it online, not online, like in other media, like cartoons and stuff that like furniture stores have had like a basement, right? Like because this is set in the 90s. I never grew up in the 90s. I was a 2000 like a 2010s kid, so I've never been to a store that has a basement. But anyway, there's a basement and he go down there and the repairman's messing with like the breakers, and he's like, because like Clark basically says like, hey, I've been having some, energy out, like some light outages and stuff like that. Like they'll just stay on even when I turn them off. Stuff like that. And because it's like running up his bill, right? And if you're not a very successful businessman, you can't pay those bills. So anyway, the guy's looking at the thing. He's like, I don't see an issue here, right? Like this I don't see anything that's be going wrong. And then as he's moving down, he sees like these like two or three like breaker switches that aren't in line with the other breakers. 'Cause all the other breaker switches are going like up and down, right? Like you're in the box. These two are like at the bottom, just by themselves, not even like remotely near the other breaker switches, and they're red. They're like kind of going like diagonal, and you flip them, and they're all talking like, "Why are these here? Like these have like no place being here. Like it doesn't make sense at all, and they're not even connected to anything. So it just makes no sense, like at all." But anyway, they're messing with it, and then when they flip them off and flip them back, we cut to the back of them, and the light flickers, kind of like office lights. The light flickers, and you're kind of like, "What?" But anyway, it's the back rooms, but I love that scene. I thought it was a really cool scene. It's like behind them. But anyway, he's like, I don't really see an issue. Real quick, before we got to that, there is a TV ad we see of Captain Clark, which is Clark, but his furniture store is kind of like him as a pirate. And so we see him, doing his like ad or whatever. But basically at the end of his ad, because he's trying to sell his furniture, he basically falls out of the chair because his furniture is cheap. So obviously he probably doesn't get a lot of sales. But at that moment, we see two characters. We get to see his assistant cat, who is played by Lukita Maxwell, and then we get to see her boyfriend Bobby. So I just wanted to address that real quick in case you talk about them later and you're like, who are those people? Yeah. Anyway, so after their repairman leaves, kind of nighttime, Clark is, he's living in the place. You're kind of like, oh, because like I said, his wife kicked him out of the house, right? And so he's living in the, the furniture store, and he's watching TV. He's getting drunk, right? And the TV starts glitching out. It turns off, and then you see the lights start messing up, and he's like, the repairman just came, right? What's going on? So he goes messes with the TV. He's like, whatever, it works. And then we cut to Clark in his car, drunk, driving up to his old, what I'm assuming is his old house. And he starts looking in the window. Nobody's there. It's all dark. Like it's nighttime. Like Clark, what are you doing, broski? And then at this point in the film, they bring up a metaphor or analogy, whatever you want to call it. And I know there's a difference, but um, that like they bring up this metaphor with Dr. Mary speaking. Like I said, she speaks multiple. Like she kind of does like a narrator from her self care book, where she's talking about the metaphor, which is a window, right? Like we're stuck in like a room, but there's a window that we can escape from, right? Because we're stuck in this track, right? We're stuck in this pattern of how we live life. We're stuck in that room. But there's a window and it's not locked, it's not broken. You can leave. You just have to choose to leave. You yourself. Like nobody else will help you like out. You have to help yourself out. And it's kind of funny. You're like, we're talking about leaving a window and seeing a window, like leaving the room, looking at a window. But here we're looking at Clark and he's looking in at the window, right? Like he's not trapped in anything. He's on the outside, which is I think really cool foreshadowing. But anyway, as we're talking about that, we cut over to Dr. Mary at her place, whether it be a house, apartment, I don't know. Whatever. We're at her place, and she's like very uncomfortable. It's like a very like I would say like gray room. Like you could feel that she's not very comfortable. You can feel that she's kind of like empty, right? Like we've all been there, right? We're just kind of like like just empty. We're kind of like letting things pass by us. But anyway, oh sorry. Wrong spot. Wrong spot. Um, we're at a house party. Sorry, we're at a house party, and we're at Mary's house party, and basically, she's like, people are talking to her at a house party, and she like looks behind, and she sees like a little daughter and her mother, and she's kind of like, she starts like disassociating from reality. She becomes so focused on that, and then she kind of has like a little mini panic attack. But then we cut back to what I was saying, which was yeah, like I was saying, she's in her room, she's kind of distant, and we see on her TV that she's looking at the ad of her, you know, her self-help book that we were just talking about. But what's funny is she kind of has like this TV tray out in front of her. We see the stone, which has her little handprint. So although she was looking at her house getting demolished, she kind of kept this with her. Um, and to me, I think the best way to make sense of it, obviously, it's thematic purpose, but it's kind of like haunting her in a sense, like literally. But like it's kind of like the item itself is possessed. So just like keep that in mind when we talk about it more. But anyway, we cut back to Clark, like another night, another day. He's watching TV again. Maybe he's drunk, maybe he's not. He's watching TV again in the furniture store, and his TV like glitches out. But this time, like instead of turning off glitching out, it cuts to like footage of the back rooms, which is kind of weird. You're kind of like, hmm. But anyway, he starts messing with it again, and he's like, "Fuck," 'cause I think it stops working. So he goes downstairs again to the basement and starts messing with the breakers again, and nothing happens. But, as he's about to go walk upstairs, he sees, like, this, like, weird light shimmer off the wall, and he's, like, looking at it, and so he goes up to it, and he's like, like, "I don't see anything here." And then he puts his hand on it, and he goes through like, he puts his hand goes through the wall, and Clark's like, "What?" And then he goes to, like, listen up on the wall, and he falls straight through the wall, and whoop, we cut straight to the back rooms. It just this transition that we get is crazy. Sound is muted, right? Like that normal, like, sound that you'd get when you hear a movie, that the extra noise muted. All we hear is just like that buzz that you hear in an office building of the light. That's literally all you hear. And just like the back rooms itself feels so huge, right? Like it's inviting, but like kind of like everything's so like weird that you can't help but keep looking through it, right? Like you can't like stop looking at it. But anyway, Clark like gets in there. He's just like amazed. He's like right. So when he gets in there, he sees like this big thing of furniture in front of him, and he's like, "What?" Because when he's looking at the furniture, he notices that some of this furniture is kind of like morphed together. Like he goes to pick up this one chair that's sitting on another chair, but they're like fused together. Or he sees that like this, like maybe like a couch is morphed into the ground. Like it's wild, and he's, like, looking around, and like I said, it's that yellow wallpaper that we've all seen from the back rooms, and there's, like, just these rooms of like, in rooms and rooms, he starts walking through, and this is, like, actually one of my favorite parts about the film. He comes to, like, this kind of impasse where there's 2 rooms in front of him, and one of them's kinda dark, and it has a stop sign that's reversed backwards, right? Like, instead of saying "stop," it's like "patop" or pots, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's mirrored, because it's the back rooms. It's weird. And then you have this like light room where there's a door and it's open, but when he walks towards that door, there's that bird again that's bloody and it's dead. Like I think its neck is snapped or whatever. And so it's great foreshadowing. I just love the foreshadowing in this film. And to me, this is one of my favorite forms of that foreshadowing, right? Like he can stop. Like even the back rooms is telling him stop, but he still chooses to go on there, right? Like because it's just that like it's that crazy. To me, it's kind of like I wouldn't say I'm like a very religious person, but like I love religious symbolism. in media, right? Like no one's saying that. Like, oh, the Backrooms is a religious metaphor. Like I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I love when you can like pull something out, especially since I came from a Catholic school. It's easier for me to see that. Other people might not see that because they don't have the same background as me. But to me, this kind of feels like the Garden of Eden, right? Like that apple that the snake tells Adam and Eve to eat from, they can't help from not eating it, right? Like it scratches their brain in the sense where like they have everything else but that. Like Clark comes in here and it's the same feeling. Especially with it being all furniture, right? Like that's the apple of his eye, right? Because he has shitty furniture. He finds out the furniture in here later is like very stable. So it's already pulling him in that way, on top of already being huge and just like what the fuck, right? You already want to explore because like that. But then on top of that, he has, like, top quality furniture, so, like, that's why I say it kinda feels like the Garden of Eden, right? But anyway, he starts exploring, he's finding all these wacky rooms, and he starts hearing noises like, like somebody walking past or whatever. Anyway, he's like, "Whatever," he just keeps walking, and then he comes in this one room. It kinda looks like that room earlier, which I don't think it is, where the guy died, but it's similar to that room. But okay, see, I'm pretty sure it is, because he finds the baggage, like that blue, suit, like, bag or whatever, but it doesn't exactly look like because there's the paint's not in there anymore. But anyway, he walks in there, he goes past that caveman again that's just spouting, words, like, in different languages, and he's, like, looking around, he sees a camera on the wall, and it's like the cords go behind the door, he can't open the door, he's just, like, in awe, literally. He's looking around, and then he sees kinda like this, like, weird, like, panel at the bottom of the wall over here. And like, what's up with that? So he opens it and he sees that blue bag that I was talking about, and he opens it and it has the async employee's name tag, and then he hears more noise, and he's kind of scared. So he ends up crawling through the little room, sorry, the little hatch into another room, and he's like, "Hello, like hello, is anybody there?" Because he still hears the noise. And then I think he either hears another noise or he sees. I'm pretty sure he sees like something like grab the bag or like walk past the bag. He's like, "What the fuck?" And so he, like, runs through the room, um, and there's this really awesome, like, part of the set, which is, he goes to, like, this other door, but it's, like, a really tiny door, so he has to, like it's, like, this crazy, how do you say? Like, crazy dimension thing, or optical illusion, that's what I'm looking for. It's the crazy optical illusion where it looks like a hallway, but it's not. It's just like the wall itself is kind of shrinking up into the door. Because, like I said, it's like a really small door. And it's even better because, like, you can hear the creature coming closer. And you don't see it, but you can hear it, like it's coming after him. And there's these 3 doorknobs, so it's really added into the intensity here, right? Because he tries the first one, it's not working. Tries the second one, doesn't work, and then finally the third one works, and he opens it, and it's kind of cool how he went through this horseshoe. Because once he opens the door, he's right behind where that stop sign was, so which is to me it's kind of cool. Like I know it's a tiny thing, but I thought that was really cool. But anyway, he ends up getting through there, and he's back. There's this really cool moment where he's trying to leave because he still thinks the monster's behind him, and he's like pressing on the wall. He gets to the wall and he starts pressing on it. He's like, "Oh shit!" Right? It's like the "oh shit" moment. He's like, "Am I stuck in here?" And then he keeps going, like he's going down the wall, and he finally finds he goes back out there, and when he comes back into like reality, he's kind of like right. It's like kind of like an "what the fuck did I just find" type of moment, right? And then you're like, "Okay, he's safe. We're gonna leave it there." Homie does not leave it there. He ends up going back in there and stealing a stool, and he comes back out there. He's sitting there. He's kind of like just like shit in his brains. He's kind of like, what the fuck, right? But yeah, it's it's crazy. It's crazy. And one of the things I love about that the like the 20 or 30 minutes when he's discovering the back rooms is that it's quiet. Like, the camera follows him. Like, it's not like a bunch of exterior shots, like, we're up close with him, and it's like we're right there with him, just, like, experiencing how big the Backrooms is, like, it's pulling us in. The silence is, like, weird, but satisfying, right? Like, we're discovering this, and there's, like, so much there. I don't know. I don't know. It's just amazing because when we go back, we get that background noise again. I don't know. Like it scratches my brain so well. Like when we're in the back rooms. But anyway, we cut to another meeting. Again, I don't really know how much time passes, so you'd have to assume some time passes because when he gets into the meeting with Dr. Mary again, Clark's like, like, like you could tell he's been somewhere for a bit because he's like super amped up and shit, and he's talking with Dr. Mary. She's like, what's up, Clark? How you doing again? And he's like, and they're not gonna believe me. Don't report me or anything, but I have found this weird room, this other basement beneath my basement, beneath my store. And Dr. Mary's kind of like, "Is this guy high? Is this guy drunk?" And she's like, "Did you drink?" He's like, "No, that's the craziest thing. I haven't drunk since like a few days ago." So I guess it has been a few days. But anyway, and so he like pulls out this map. He's like, look at all these rooms. So Broski has been there a few more times, and he's like kind of like mapped out all the rooms that he's seen so far. And she's looking at it, and she's kind of like, "That's kind of crazy, right?" Like if you were in Dr. Mary's shoes, you'd be like, "Yeah, Clark is kind of crazy." And, she's trying to be nice about it. She's like, "Has anybody else seen this?" And he's like, "No, like it's not in on any city maps. Like I don't think anybody knows that it's here." And basically, he kind of gets that she doesn't believe him, and he kind of like loses it again. He's like, "You don't believe me, do you?" And she's like, "No." But and then he's like, "No, it's fine, it's fine." He like he grabs the paper. He's like, "I'm gonna prove to you that it is real, and you're gonna be damned when I come prove it to you." He's like, "You're gonna owe me an apology," and he storms out. And then there's this weird moment right afterwards where he leaves. You can hear the car like take off, and Dr. Mary like her face drops, like where she's kind of like caring, and she's like, like as if she had been there before, or like somebody that she knew had been there before. And you could either take it that way, or you could take it as which we see later. Um, her mother is acting the same way. And it's not just so much like, like, "Oh, I've seen this before." It's like, I've been there before. And so, like maybe, her or her mom have been to the back before. Or maybe it's just Clark is reminding her so much of her mom, how like just they just just switched one day, right? But whichever way you want to take it, but that's basically it. But yeah. So then we cut to Clark. He goes up to this like town home. He's like knocking on the door like crazy. And, Robbie, Kat's girlfriend, who's his assistant, like I said, at the furniture store, he, like, opens the door, he's like, "Hey, what's up, man?" And Rob's like, "Where's Kat? Where's Kat? Where's Kat?" Or not Rob, sorry, Clark is like, "Where's Kat? Where's Kat?" And so, like, he the boyfriend, calls over Kat, and she's like, "What? She's like, what is my boss doing here?" And he's like, "Do you have the camera?" Because remember, I said, the ad earlier, because Robbie was recording them on, like, a camcorder. Um, and so he's like, "You have the camera, right? Right?" And they're like, "Why?" He's like, "We need to go discover something. I like we need this because he wants to show Dr. Mary the proof that there is the back rooms." And so anyway, they're kind of skeptical when they get down there, and this is the part of the film where we kind of cut back to found footage, right? Like if you had seen Kane Parsons videos before, this is what makes you cream your pants, right? And I think it does it in a really well way, and we'll get into that later. But like, it doesn't feel like the found footage in here. Like, it doesn't feel weird at all. Like, it works perfectly. Like transitioning from from the beginning back to normal film to found footage back to normal film. It just works really well, especially with it being like a creepy pasta type of story like this, or something that's from 4chan or Reddit. Like it works really, really well, especially with like the second act of the film. And like what happens in the story. Like it just feels like a story that you would find online, right? And I'll get into that in a second, but I just want to say it works really well. But anyway, they're in the basement, and clearly you can tell Kai Clark has been in and out a lot of times. You see stop signs, see furniture, all sorts of shit thrown off the ground. He has like this huge whiteboard. Maybe he grabbed that from the back rooms where he's like drawn, you know, where he's been at everything. Like just like on the paper with Dr. Mary, and he's crazy, right? Like Clark's already like huffing and puffing and shit. He's like, because they're asking, they're like, what are we doing? Like, where are we going?" He's like, "You have the rope," and they're like, "Yeah, but where are we going?" He's like, "I just need you to trust me. Watch." And he's like, bloop. He goes to the wall, and they're like, "What the fuck?" Like anybody would be like, "What the shit?" And the boyfriend Robbie is kind of like, what the fuck, but in a good way. He's like touching the wall and he's like messing with it because like his hands going through there and stuff. And like the girl was like, "No, what are you doing? Like, don't go in there, right?" And he's like, "No, this is cool." And he's like, "Watch." And he like, because you can hear Clark from the other side, which is kind of cool. Like you would think if you no clip into the the back rooms, you wouldn't be able to hear them from another dimension or whatever the back rooms is, realm, universe, what you name it. But anyway, he could hear Clark from like real world from the store. And Clark's like, "Look, I'm fine. Like you can hear me. Just come over here. I want to show you." So the boyfriend walks through, and it's kind of cool. And then he's the even the boyfriend's in awe. He's like, "What the fuck? Like this is cool as shit." And then the girlfriend walks through, and she's scared as shit. Like why? What the fuck are we doing this for? But anyway, they agree. They keep walking through the back room, and they get to this one room. They get to this room where it has like kind of like 'cause you just have to watch this movie to understand, like, the rooms are wild as fuck, right? Like, if you've seen the back rooms, then you know, but, like, if you don't know, like, it's not just, like, a bunch of rooms. It's a bunch of rooms that all connect in all sorts of fucking random ass ways, and each room is different, like, not even, like, kinda different, like, a lotta different. Like, they're in this room like, hold on, let me use this as an example. So they're in this room, right? Like, this is the ground, and there's just, like, I wouldn't say it's a doorway, but it's like a path that leads, like, down into this basement into another room. And then once somebody gets in that room, he looks up and it's like a hallway, but like tilted on it's crazy. It's crazy. But anyway, that's what I kind of want to say. So they're in this room and there's this like pathway into another room. Now, you know, they find there's a bed in there just random just randomly. And so they tie the rope to the bed and they tie it to the boyfriend Robbie who has the camcorder. And he's like, you know, Robbie's like, don't just like throw me down there, like slowly let me go, like so I can like walk down there. Because the plan is they're gonna like Clark and Kat are gonna hold on to the rope while Robbie walks down there, right? He's recording stuff. Because I guess it's a place that like Clark hasn't explored yet, so he doesn't want to go down there until like in a way that he can't come back. You get what I mean? You get what I mean? But anyway, um, you know, he starts like letting him down, and then I think like the the rope gets stuck on the bed, and like the boyfriend kind of like trips more than he needed to, and he's like, "Hey, what the fuck's going on, right? Like, you're supposed to be holding me so I don't like just fucking fall down here." And he's like, "Oh, it's my bad, my bad." Um, but anyway, he's like, "Let some more rope down though," and so he starts walking around, and it's just like it's a weird switch, right? Like you go down like a level, and it's just dirty, and it's not just like gross, like it just looks dirty. 'Cause there's, like, all piles of, like, shirt and trash, you name it, all over the fucking place. Like, there's, like, windows, but it's kinda like fogged windows, so you can't really see the light. But, like, when you look up at like I said, the boyfriend looks up, he sees, like, this hallway, but it's kinda, like, tilted and shit. That looks well lit, but just, like, down here, it's dark, like, there's shadows, there's not much light. And then there's just, like, room in the back, kinda off to the corner that's, like, all dark, right? There's no light. And, there's that right there, and then in front of him, there's this big door, and it's not like door, like, up and down, it's like door on its side, right? So, like, this is the wall, and it's not like a door, it's like a door. But anyway, he's like, "Hey, give me some more rope," so because he wants to see what's in the back corner, like, what's in the dark, right? And as he gets over there, like, I think it's like a light flickers or I don't know, something, and he can barely make out something. As he keeps looking over there, he sees, like, a creature, like, kinda like I think the creature, like, pokes his head down, and the boyfriend basically shits his pants. He, like, starts running up, that the pathway or the walkway, whatever you name it, but it's, like, super steep, so you can't just, like, magically walk up there. It's super steep and super, like, low, right? It's a long, like, way to go, and so they're like, pull me up," and then, like, you're like, "Oh my god, no, he's not gonna make it," right? And he just makes it, and, like, he's like, "Get this shit off me now, like, we're getting the fuck out of here," and so Clark starts untying it, and, like, he can't untie it correctly because like, it's just, like, crazy knots. He can't untie it, like, quickly, and so, like, he's starting to do it, and then, like, right as he's about to finish the rope, the guy starts getting pulled. He's like, "Whoa, whoa, what the fuck?" Right? Because he made it to the top, and so he starts getting pulled through the pathway, like, the door frame, whatever you name it, and, then he gets pulled one more time, he, like, falls all the way down. You hear, like, this thud. and, like, they're both freaking out because the boyfriend put the camera off to the side on the bed, and, then you hear more pulling, and you see, like, the rope that's connected to the bed from the camera, you see it getting tugged because like, Clark and Kat are both looking down the hallway or whatever, and then all of a sudden, like, this crazy pull comes, and it pulls the bed at them, knocking them down into the room below. And I think Clark picks up the camera because, right as he picks it up, you can just make it out, but you see Robbie's body is like it's a bloody body. It gets pulled into that door. So, like, this is the ground level. They fall down here. The door's right here, and the body gets pulled up into the door. It's creepy because, like I said, the door is like this, and like it opens down, and then gets it opens down and then comes back up to close. So the body gets dragged in, and it closes like just in the nick of time. You can barely see it, and you see his blood drag across the ground, whatever. So Kat's losing her shit, so she runs off to that dark corner we talked about, and you start hearing her scream. And I guess Clark sees something because, like I said, this is found footage. So you don't get to see like Clark's POV exactly. You guys see something, hear something, because the door opens up again just slightly, right? Like a predator ready to pounce, and he goes through like the wall, and because he shit his pants too. He's like, "What the fuck?" Because at this time, from what we know, he's only heard noise. He didn't know that there's people down there. Because like even in that second meeting, Doctor Mary's like, "Hey, is anybody else down there?" He's like, "No, but like I've heard noises or whatever." So he doesn't know like literally anybody's down there yet. We'll get into that in a minute. We'll get into that in a minute. But anyway, like kind of crawls through the wall into another room. Because like I said, basically any and everything leads to another fucking room in the back room, which is just wild. But anyway, he makes it through and he ends up into another room and he's still running he's still running away because he's like, what the fuck? And as he does that, he keeps going through like all these even weirder rooms. Like there's a bathroom. There's like when I say bathroom, I mean like tile and like a little like a bathhouse room. There's like all sorts of shit. There's like a Christmas room. And then like when he runs into this like when I say Christmas room, like it's like all dark. There's this big ass Christmas tree in the middle. I think it's all lit. Like the Christmas tree. And like when he like goes onto the other side of it, he sees like this like black shadow, but it's like a really tiny shadow, and like a light gets turned on, like a little lamp light, and it's like this little creature in like a chair, like a wheelchair. And Clark's like, "What the fuck?" And as he's staring at it, like this lady just starts randomly running at him. He's like shitting his pants, and so he runs through there. He runs through like another Christmas room, whatever, has all this like lawn Christmas stuff. He's like looking for Kat. He's like, "Kat, where you at?" Right, and he can't find her, so he's booking it, and then he ends up in this like pool room, but, like, it's the back room, so not everything is exactly how I say. So it's like a pool room, but there's no water in the pool, and, like, the pool is, like, an inch deep. Like, it's crazy. And so as Clark gets in there, he's still holding on to the camera, he can hear Cat on the other side of the wall, and he's like, "What?" 'Cause he can't see anything. It's just like a wall, like a tile wall. And so he puts the camera down, like, on this table. It's just like it's just magically there. And, he's, like, banging on the door, and Kat's like, "I see you, Clark, like, can you not see me?" He's like, "No, I don't see you at all." He's like, "Where are you?" She's like, "I'm right on the other side of the glass." And, as he's saying that I'm sorry, you hear somebody walk into the room, like the person that's chasing them, and he picks up the camera, and when they pick up the camera, they move it up to their height, and it's like a creepy height, right? And, like, right after that, like, it kinda cuts, and you're kinda like, "What?" You're probably shitting your pants too, like I was. But anyway, after that, we cut to another flashback of Dr. Mary and her mother. So this is her a lot younger, like I said, like we saw earlier when we first saw them at the beginning of the film. Here we're at her house again, and um, there like a super dark kind of, and there's this wallpaper, like newspaper all over the windows. It kind of like the yellow look, kind of like the back rooms from like the sun beating off of it and everything. And like Dr. Mary, as a kid, she's like looking back, at the kitchen or what you name it, like another room, and like it's empty. And so she like goes up to the newspaper and she starts to peel it a little bit. And she starts to peel even more, and their mom just comes out of the fucking nowhere. And she's like, "What I tell you about, like 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 peeling it, like escaping." She's you can't trust them out there. You just can't. And then it gets quiet for a minute. Then all of a sudden, she like looks at the door, like the mother. She looks at the door. She's just like scared shitless. And I'm guessing it's a car that like busts through the door. Something busts through the door. You can't really make out. I'm just assuming it's a car. It just busts through the door because there's like shit all in front of the door, like blocking it, right? Because they're just like she doesn't want her to leave. And so you're just like, what the fuck? And like right as that happens, Mary wakes up. Dr. Mary wakes up and she looks over and on her nightstand and she sees the stone. That's why I'm saying like it kind of haunts her. Right? It's kind of like a possessed item, right? Because it's bringing up all this past trauma. But anyway, uh, her I don't know what is it called? It's like a voice box or whatever where it kept your phone messages like back in the 90s, voicemail, whatever. But anyway, it starts beeping throughout the house. It's like really loud too. It's like in the middle of the night. And so she like wakes, she's already awake, so she's gonna go check it anyway. And it's like really cryptic, short message from Clark. He's like, "Hey, I'm going in there. I'm not coming back." I'm like okay, then it hangs up. And so you're just like, what? And so, kind of like the next morning, Dr. Mary, pulls over. She like pulls up in front of the store, and right before that, we cut to a doctor. And I meant to say this earlier, but after the first time Clark comes out of the room, we see a doctor played by Mark Duplass. Sorry if I mispronounced that. Obviously that works for async, and he's watching footage of Clark from the back rooms from the first time. But anyway, so we cut back to Dr. Mary going to Clark's shop, and then we cut to the doctor again. His name is Dr. Phil, and he's with his family. He's like making popcorn or whatever, and they're in their living room, you name it, and they're watching TV. And then as the TV's playing, it goes to an ad. That ad we saw earlier of Clark. He's doing his pirate ad for the furniture store, and the doctor's face just drops. He's like, right, because like his work came home, and you're like, what? Like, because it's haunting him, kind of. It's a really cool scene. It's a really cool scene. But anyway, beyond that, we cut back to Dr. Mary. She's in the store. She opens it. It's empty. It's like completely dead. Like not even the lights are on or anything. And it kind of has a like empty sound, kind of like the back rooms. And she's like, "Hey, Clark, like, are you in here? Are you in here?" And she goes downstairs and she finds like all the shit that he kind of just left down there. And like it kind of like it's kind of like a suffocating feeling that you kind of get at this scene in the movie, where you're like, she kind of senses that there's something up on the wall here because okay, so she senses it, but you could see it because as you can see in the poster, there's duct tape. So that first time, oh no, yeah, I guess the first time that Clark takes Kat and Robbie, first and only time, he takes them down there. He has duct taped where the portal is on the wall, or the area that you can get into to the back rooms. So that's how what Mary sees, and it's kind of like this weird like she doesn't trust it, obviously. But when she goes down there, she sees it and she's kind of kind of standoffish. And as she's going, she goes up to it super slowly. She doesn't really want to touch it, and then she sees a fly, like she's flying nearby. It's like, "Zzz," and it flies in. I think it flies out, and then it flies back in one more time. And that's kind of like what tells her like just go through the door. But what and a cool story is like the reason that there's a fly in the movie, from what I've read, is that they just couldn't get rid of the fly on the set on the day. They couldn't get rid of the fly like when they were filming that day, and so they just kept it in. And I think that's actually a really cool touch in the film. But anyway, she ends up going through there, and it's weird because when Clark goes in there, you're like, oh, this is kind of cool in here. When she goes in there, she knows it's sinister. Like she can feel that there's something off, and we'll get into it later, like when we get into themes. But she could just feel there's something off about her being in here, and so she walks in there and she starts looking around, and it's weird to her. Like even the camera work is different here for her. Like earlier when we were with Clark, we're up next to him, we're experiencing this like amazing place with him. But with her, it's far away. Like it's like we still are portraying like the backrooms as big, but it's a different big. Like with Clark, we're like, oh my god, this is so big. Like I gotta go check out everything. Her, it's like creepy big. Like we're super far away. Like something could just pop out at any moment, type of thing, right? Like in like an abandoned house or you name it, right? But anyway, she walks in. She's just like kind of really off put, and she ends up getting into this one room where she sees this like crazy mural drawn on the wall with this like dark figure and like these bodies and somebody being raised up to a window. Again, we get the window again. Um, and, she's looking at it and she hears this noise behind her and she like turns around and like Clark like barely peeks his head out. And she's like, Clark, is that you? She's like, Clark, 'cause she's looking for Clark anyway. Uh, at the time, she's looking for Clark. But he like slowly peeps his head out, and it's like really weird because like when he peeps his head out, like this is the wall, and he's like it would be something that like if you're watching like Insidious or The Conjuring, like a devil does, like a demon, where they're kind of just like it's like that, but it's Clark, and it's super weird. And I guess you could say like he's possessed by the backrooms at this point. But I want to get into this like later. To me, this doesn't seem like Clark, but everything afterwards just seems like him. So I guess maybe it's just like a creative choice. But it is really off-putting. And he like finally comes out and he's like whispering to her. He's like, "Hey, it's just me. It's just Clark." And she's like, "Clark, what are you doing? Like, what are you whispering for? Like, what is this mural?" And then there's like more sounds like coming around, and they're like Mary's like Dr. Mary's like, "Okay, if the sound's not you, who the fuck is the sound, right?" And Clark starts like getting closer. He's like, "Hey, don't worry about it. It's just me." And like, I guess you doesn't clock it when he says that the first time, because like, if you're watching it the second time, you know who it is. But for the first time, you're like, "What? What does he mean by that?" Obviously, we'll see in a second. But as he's getting close up to her, he kind of gets behind her and he like puts her in a chokehold and like makes her pass out. This guy's fucking crazy. But anyway, we cut to her waking up, at the dinner table, and she's like restrained to a chair. And when I say dinner table, like I mean they're in like another backrooms room, and they're just like at a dinner table, and she like wakes up, restrained by ropes. And Clark's sitting aside from her, like on the other end, and there's just like this random dude right here, and there's okay in the back rooms, at least in this movie. I don't know outside of this. There are these things like I said, there's furniture and like places that you've seen before. Excuse me, that gets replicated. But when it gets replicated, it's weird. Like it's morphed into the wall. It looks different. All sorts of shit. But there's also people. Now, it is 100% accurate people. That's up for debate. You want to get into theories and whatnot. But Clark starts talking to Mary about, this replicants. So you see the guy in the wheelchair, like behind Mary, and it's not a kid, it's a dude, right? He has some form of a disability. And then behind Clark in the corner, you see this redhead lady, which was the one that ran him earlier. Like, I think like her eye, like she has like three different faces. Like she's like two noses right here and like more eyes, like you name it. But the person sitting next to her at the table is this like older, like white dude that's kind of like, a little more like heavier, and his like he has like three eyes, and it's just weird. Um, and so Clark's like, it's so fascinating in here, and he starts repeating the line earlier about how we're stuck in our paths, we can't really escape. Like he's recited it to Mary again, and he's talking to her about how he like really likes it in here, and she's like, Clark, you got to let me go, Brotato. Potato chip, and he was like, "No, no, no, it's okay, it's okay." And he's like, "Let me show you something." So he starts talking about the replicates. He's like, and he starts, explaining more about the backrooms. He's like, "This place replicates people and things," and he's like, "Maybe that person in the chair over there was a person at one point. This dude next to you was a person at one point." And he kind of points at the lady too. And there is speculation that this lady might be like a replicant of Clark's wife. I mean, I don't know. They don't ever say anything, so it could be. And there's things that hint at it. But it's just up for speculation. So to each their own. But anyway, as he's explaining the replicants, he's like, "Look, they don't feel pain." And he like pulls a knife out and he just stabs the dude in the neck. And they're just like, "The fuck?" and there's no blood, there's no nothing. He doesn't react, he doesn't flinch. So, props to the actor. But, like, Dr. Mary's just like, "What the fuck? Like, why would you just stab somebody?" And anyway, he's like, "No, no, 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 it's okay, they don't feel pain." He's like, imagine what that would feel like, not being able to feel pain. It's so that would be so amazing, right? And, and you're like, "Oh, yeah, I guess," it's kinda like delving into, Clark's psyche right here and whatnot. And then, he starts talking to her more. He's like, "Let me show you something else." He, like, digs into this, like, when I say dig into the stomach, you're like, "What?" No, like, he literally digs it into the fucking stomach of this replicant, and he pulls out this chunk of just, like, white gelatin shit. Like, I don't know what it is. It's not like marshmallow, like that type of sticky crap. It's like when I say Jello, it's, like, literally sticky. Like, if you were to grab, like, pine tar or, like, glue, but, like, soft white like, you just have to see it because it's super weird, like, it's super uncanny, and so he, like, plops it on him, Dr. Mary, and the replicants, plates, because 'cause they're gonna eat that, and he starts talking to Dr. Mary, and she's like, "Hey, Clark, you have to let me out of here, I promise, like, just please, I'll do anything you want," and Clark's like, "Okay, I want you to say that you were wrong about me." And she's like, "Oh, yeah, yeah, I'm wrong about you, bro. Just let me the fuck out of here." And he's like, "Not too much now. Like, calm it down. Calm it down. Let's do it my way. Let's do it my way. Let's do the role playing thing that you made me do earlier." And she's just kind of like, "Okay, whatever." But he's like, "Let's set the mood first. Let's set the mood first." And he talks to the redhead lady behind him. He's kind of just sitting there. He's like, "Lights, please." She just doesn't even budge. And he's like, he's looking at Doctor May. He's like, "We got through this all the time. She doesn't do it." He's like, and he goes to turn off the lights. He's like, "This is my house after all." We're going back to that. And he's like, "But hmm, something is still not right." And so he goes and like cuts, like basically scalps the redhead lady replicant, and he puts it on top of Doctor Mary. And she's just so disgusted. And basically, he's like, "Let's role play this." So I was coming home, a few drinks, it was a busy day, and I broke a glass, and you woke up. And she's like, "No, Clark." He's like, "No." He calls Dr. Mary his wife's name. I forget what her name is. And basically, he's like, "I'm sorry I broke your glass, right? Like I didn't mean to." And they go back into their role playing, and Clark starts, getting aggressive again. He's like, "I could have as many drinks as I want." It kind of movie. It's kind of different from the first time we saw it, where Clark is kind of like being like defensive. Here, he's kind of being offensive with Doctor Mary. He's like, "I get to have as many drinks as I want. I'm the only one that pays for this house. I'm the only one that has a job. You're the one on your fat ass not doing anything, right?" Like you go from the defensive to the offensive. Because the first time, Doctor Mary kind of, pointed out to him that he's not an architect. Here, he goes on the offensive, I would say. And then Dr. Mary's like, they kind of go through it, but then she kind of, she's like, because he's like really leaning into like him shitting on his wife, Dr. Mary in front of him. And she's like, "I don't even know your wife. Like, why the fuck are you yelling at me? Like, why are you saying all this?" And he's like, "It's your fault." He's like, keeps blaming her. And then she kinda like, drops she kinda just drops the whole charade, kinda drops the wig too. She's like, "I don't even know your wife," like, you blame all this on other people. That's what's wrong with you. That's why your wife left you. Because you can't take accountability, This thing happens, you blame this. Another thing happens, you blame that. It's all these decisions you make, you blame your brain. Well, you are your brain, you dumbass. And she's like, "That's your fault. Everything that is going on with you is because of you." She's like, "Quit blaming people." She's like, "Just let me out of here." And Clark does like such an awesome job. Chiwetel just has such amazing acting here. From somebody that was just like going crazy to just like that glass window broke. He's kind of just like he drops his face, and he's like, "Well, then like how do I stop?" Like, how do I stop doing this? Like, how do I get out of that pattern? And Dr. Mary's like, I don't fucking know. You're just fucked up in the head. She's like, "I don't know how to fucking help you." She's like, literally just don't know." And then Clark is just kind of like, I like it here, you know, like, I don't want to change. Like, I want to stay here." And she's like, "Good, stay here. Just let me the fuck out of here." And he's like, "Okay." Like, "Okay. I can do that, right?" And so, he goes to, untie her, and as he starts untying her, the redhead lady, she, like, runs into the corner behind Dr. Mary, like, back in the room. And, obviously, she's not going anywhere, it's just the corner, so she keeps running into it. And the reason she runs into it because she hears noise, and then everybody else starts hearing this, like, noise of somebody walking closer, and you see the creature that, you've been seeing the whole film finally walk in, and this is weird ass fucking, like, it's basically Pirate Clark from the ad, but, like, this crazy Backrooms version where he's super tall, his face is, like, all warped and shit, like, it's weird as fuck. And, like, Clark goes up to it, and he's like, "No, no, 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 it's okay, this is our therapist." Right? She said it's fine, like, we don't have to change, it's okay. And as he say, he's, like, walking up to the creature, Pirate Clark. I'm just gonna call him Pirate Clark from now on. And he's like, "It's okay." And then Pirate Clark's just staring at him, and he just picks up Clark, and he just bites him. I would say, like, right here, like, the collarbone or whatever. And Clark just starts screaming and bleeding everywhere. And Dr. Mary's just fucking like, "What the fuck?" So she gets out of the chair, and as he's, like, eating Clark, he pulls him off throws him off to the side, starts eating him. She books it. And Dr. Mary doesn't even spare a second. She books it, and, anyway, she starts running out into another room, and here we start to see some rooms that are, like, kinda familiar, kinda like the townhouse room, which is, like, basically the townhouses from earlier from Dr. Cat. Oh, real quick, we do get to see something about Cat. So when he's talking to Dr. Mary at the dinner table, he opens up a fridge and you see Cat's like just head, like she's beheaded in there, and like obviously it's been some time because it's like rotting, like gray and rotting. But anyway, she's like booking it, and as she's running away, Pirate Clark is walking right behind her, just dragging Clark's dead body or corpse, whatever you want to say. Like maybe he is dead, maybe he's not. But anyway, he starts chasing her, like not running because he has a peg leg. Um, but basically, she starts running through all these rooms, and Pirate Clark's right behind her. And then through one of the rooms she's running through, it has like a bunch of sofas, and she like kind of trips on one of the sofas, and I would say she kind of like rolls her ankle per se. And, Pirate Clark gets to catch up to her a little bit then, and she books it again, and then she gets into this one room. I am gonna call it the hive room, kinda like a beehive, because she looks down and she almost falls, but it's just like bottomless pit, but before you get to the pit, it's just like hundreds of back rooms. But, like, the way it looks is like okay, how do I describe this? Um, like, if you had a like, okay. Like, if you had a box, right? And you put a you drew a box on your, like, box, and you lifted everything out of there, right? Or I guess you would say like an apartment building, you just cut straight through an apartment building, and you lifted that slice out, and you could see into everybody's rooms. That's what it looks like, but it's all back rooms, and it's humongous, right? And obviously it keeps going down, and, there's less light, so you can't see down there, so that's why I say pit. But then there's these stairs that lead up to the ceiling, and, like, there's no rails or anything, so it's kinda creepy, like, each step that she could take, like, she could just fall off. Um, but on the ceiling, there's, like, this tiny door again, and so, like, she starts walking, through there because she closes the door behind her, and then not Doctor Clark, Pirate Clark's, hand comes through, doggy door or whatever, starts breaking down the door, and so she walks up the stairs, and as she opens the door, like, it kinda falls on her, she throws it into the pit, and as she, like, lets herself out, she appears in the basement of Doctor Clark's store, and she walks up the stairs, and it's kinda weird, like, right? Like, we're in the store again, like, did she escape? But we see a caveman in the center, and we see all these, like, blue fire extinguisher canisters, like, all over, and she goes up to the front door thinking she can escape, and then she sees, like, it's all wallpaper. Because she opens the door, she sees it's all wallpaper, like, she opens it into the wall. So we're, like, still in the back rooms, and you're just like, "What the fuck? Like, we're still here?" And then Dr. Clark comes up from Pirate Clark, sorry, comes up from the stairs and comes after her, and she's kind of like being defensive, right? So she ends up grabbing like a coat rack, and she's like, "Back off!" She's like shoving it at him. She's like, "Back off!" And then as Pirate Clark is getting closer to her, she like slams that shit into his peg leg, breaking it, and he like falls down. After she starts running away, She like knocks herself into the caveman cutout that we were talking about before, basically setting off an alarm, and all the blue fire extinguishers going. It's like beep 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 beep. But now since she's on the ground, with Pirate Clark being on the ground, Pirate Clark like jumps on top of her. He starts to, trying to attack her as she's like starts crawling away, and she starts like pushing his face away and all that. But she doesn't have anything, so she grabs the rock from earlier in the film with her handprint. She like smashes into his face, getting him off of her, and it goes and breaks into pieces over there. But anyway, she's finally able to pick herself up, and she starts like walking through these two walls that are like really close together, and she's able to make it right through just in time. Because like right as she gets in through there, Pirate Clark starts like reaching out to her because he can't fit through there. He's stuck in there. We'll save that for later, a little tidbit. But basically, and there's this really nice scene where Dr. Mary stares at Clark, and she's kind of sad for him, right? But she has to move on. So she like turns around and she books it, and she finally gets through like the little crevice. And as soon as she gets through there, there's like all these async employees in like hazmat suits, and they just start spraying her with the blue extinguishers. And they're like, who is this? Who is? Do you know who this is? Like, who is this?" And basically, she like passes out, and then she like wakes back up again outside of the back rooms because you can see the door behind her. And there's all these async employees, doctors, people in hazmat suits. They're all just staring at her. She's like, "What the fuck?" And she passes out again. And then she wakes up. She's in new clothes, so we don't really know how much time it has been. And um, basically, she's like walking to the hall behind these scientists. And then she like as she's walking the hall, she looks through this one door, and she sees Pirate Clark like kind of like wrapped up, like saran. I wouldn't say saran wrap, but like in plastic and stuff. And I don't know if he's dead or not, because, like, right before she wakes up, there's, like, these MRI scans of, like, a brain, and it could either be hers, but I'm thinking it's Captain Clark's, because when she looks in there, there's, like, a doctor looking at, you know, the scans. So, like, maybe he is dead, maybe he's not, like, I don't know, they don't really say anything, but, like, he's not moving or anything, he's just on there, on the, what's it called? On the table. So like maybe he's like alive but just asleep, right? Because they like knocked him out with the gas canisters. So who knows? Maybe that's why he's like all like wrapped up so he won't hurt anybody. But anyway, as she's walking through to like walking past another door, we see like a whole room of just those caveman cutouts, and they're all just standing behind the door. But anyway, she walks into this final room and she kind of gets sit down, and it's kind of like I would say an interrogation room. It looks like that. You got these huge windows off to the side, like one-way windows or mirrors or whatever, and then you have like kind of like windows that like lead to outside because you have light coming in. But basically, the doctor comes in, the same one that we saw earlier, which was Doctor Phil, and he's like, "Hello, my name is Doctor Phil." I think he introduces himself as Phil, and he's like, "I work," and he pulls out this folder and he's like, "So how'd you get here?" And I think it's really interesting that he says here and not the back rooms, but we'll get into that in a second. But yeah, he's like, "So how'd you get here?" And she's like, "I was looking for my patient." And he's like, "So this," and he pulls out a photo of Captain Clark's furniture store. She's like, "So can you confirm this is the place?" She's like, "Yes." But she's like, Where am I?" And he's like, "So was the person you're looking for this guy?" He pulls out a photo of Clark next to Captain Clark, but it's weird because Captain Clark is like boxed out in a black box, kind of like in classified documents where they like mark it with black highlighter or marker, or whatever. And she doesn't really answer. He's like, What am I doing? Who are you? Like, what are you doing here?" And he's like, "Okay, let me restart. Like, I work for a or I my company Async was a company that made MRI scanning machines. And then one day we discovered this place. Again, it says this place, not that place, or calling it the back rooms. He says this place, as if we're in the back rooms. And he's like, and then everything changed. And so now every day, we were checking it out, and she asked him, she's like, "Oh, so you've been in there?" And he looks at like the window, like you could read it as two ways. Like one, he's looking at somebody on the other side of the window, like looking for approval, like if he can say it, or two, he's been there before. Something happened and it changed him. And he looks back, he's like, "Yes." I go in there every day trying to understand, like, something about it, just even a little bit to help me, to help us, whatever, just get a little bit closer to understanding it. And he's like, "So can you tell me anything about it?" And she's like, "If I, like, when I tell you anything, am I good to go?" And he's like, he kind of pauses. He's like, "That's not up to me, but, just try to help me out here." And he starts talking, and then Dr. Mary just kind of like disassociates again from reality, and maybe it's kind of like she's like, "I'm never getting the fuck out of here," right? Or, she's having another like maybe she's been here before, like how we saw earlier, when she like was at the party and she saw her family. Like I'm probably assuming the performer, but anyway, as she's doing that, she stops listening to what he's saying, and then we kind of get the creepy music again from the movie, and we see that there are new rooms added into the back rooms. We see Dr. Mary's crumbled house. We see, um, Dr. Mary's living room. We see her office. We get to see her, a book signing room with all her books everywhere that has like a huge hole in there. And we get to see this other room where it has like all these telephone poles that are like winding down, but it has like missing signs of Cat and Robbie on it. And then we get to this last room of a replicant of Dr. Mary in the chair, just like how we just saw her, but it's in the interrogation room, and, like, the creature's just kinda, like, looking down, like, her face is, like, doubled or whatever, multiplied on top of itself, and it's and then the movie ends. And that's it. Like, that's the whole Backrooms movie. Um, so, moving on to the next part, like, we're gonna kinda do this out of order because usually I go into my themes and my production, but I wanna talk about plot holes and unanswered, like, threads and stuff like that, especially because of this ending. So for, like, me, I made it to me, it made me feel like she never really escaped initially, and I was like, "Oh, is that Dr. Mary, the replicant?" And then, as you watch the film and maybe, like, you look it up online, you're like, you know, like like, I don't know if you can transform into a replicant, like, in there, right? Like, because we saw Clark, he didn't transform into the replicant, right? And you can't be like, "Oh, well, maybe Pirate Clark was Clark beforehand." Because we see Pirate Clark before Clark goes down there. So you can't really make that assumption now unless they retcon it and be like, "Oh, yeah, that creature beforehand was not Pirate Clark. It was, you know, another creature." But I don't know, like, the way they cut it just made me feel like that was her, like, she never escaped, right? Because like, it's one thing if there's a replicant of Dr. Mary in there and it's, like, any other room, but the fact that it was the interrogation room, I don't know, and that's one of the reasons why, like, after the movie, I was just kinda like, right? Like, I couldn't just leave it alone. It just kept going on and on in my head, especially when, the Dr. Phil kept asking her, he was kept referring to the back rooms as this room here. Like, to me, it was as if he was talking to Mary, who maybe, did get turned into that replicant, and he's, like, maybe speaking to her, like, over, like, audio or something like that, right? And, you know, that's kinda, like, how it felt like to me, but, it could just be there's a replicant of that room and her just in the back rooms. I don't know. I I don't know. Like, I really want to know, is that her or is that not her? Right? Like, maybe that's not her, but she also just doesn't get to escape the back rooms. I don't know. It's very interesting. It's very, very interesting. Like, and there's a lot of people online that, "Oh, she did escape. Oh, she didn't escape." And that's what I'm saying. Like, when you look at the replicants in the movie, and, like, I don't know if that's their actual name. I'm just calling them that. Like, you can be like, "Oh, like, that isn't a replicant, right?" Like, sorry, like, that isn't Dr. Mary because, like, you can't replicate into a replicant, but I don't know, maybe you can. I don't know, maybe in the next movie, they're gonna change maybe the rules of the back room or, I don't know, to me, it just didn't feel like she escaped, right? Like, maybe that's, like maybe when you become a replicant and you become so desensitized to everything, you fall into, like, your mind falls into, like, an escape, like, "Oh, you did escape," right? And you're playing through like a life if you did, right? Like maybe that's like why when Clark stabbed the other guy, he didn't react because his mind is somewhere else. His body's there, but his mind is somewhere else. But maybe not. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just saying. To me, it felt like she didn't escape, especially with the way they cut the scene. Like we transitioned from Mary and in the interrogation room to Mary in the back rooms. I don't know. It just felt as if she didn't escape. I just want to talk about that real quick. We're gonna talk about other plot holes later. We'll get into that in a minute. But first, I want to talk about I want to talk about my themes. All right. So as for the story of this film, like I said earlier, it is very simple. Like obviously, when you talk about the backrooms themselves are not very simple. You're just like, this is a lot, right? But the story itself of the movie is very simple. Like we go from A to B to C, and I really like that. Like I think it really works for this film. Like I really like how we're able to see something in the beginning, we get to see it in the end again, and it works. Like we're not treading old waters in a way that aren't interesting. Like we're doing it in a way that shows transformation of the characters, like in a really neat way. And I know you're like, well, Josh, that's how every movie works. Yes, but I don't know. Here it just works really well. But moving forward, or more so on like the themes of this movie, there's so many themes in this movie. Like I said earlier, like you could take this movie in just about like any way you wanted to. But I would say like the most important themes to this movie are containment and escape. And we're gonna get into some more in a moment. But I feel like these two just kind of set the groundwork. So, and why I say this the most is because we're talking about this window earlier. There's this window that Dr. Marix talks about how we're stuck in this our patterns in our room, and we can't really escape, right? Until we make that choice, right? Like it's not locked. The window does work. We just need to make that choice, and I think that's really true. Like just as a person, like so many people commit these actions that are self-harm to themselves, like maybe not like physical self-harm, but like mental self-harm, or they know they're not getting better, they're not bettering themselves or bettering their lives, and yet we still make the choice, right? We know like as people that something is wrong with our lives. Like we may not know what exactly, but we have that feeling that something is off. Something is not working in our routine, and yet we still keep going through the motions. And like she says, we're waiting for like a different outcome, even though there's not a different outcome. And it's kind of weird. Like you can see out the window, right? Like you can be like, okay, there is something wrong here. I need to leave. But there's two ways to react to it, and we get to see them through Dr. Mary and Clark. There is somebody like Clark who, maybe once you find either you finally notice what the issue is and you just refuse to believe that's the issue, or you just literally don't know what the issue is. I'm more so focused on the prior. And then you have somebody like Dr. Barry who knows what the issue is, and she's making the change towards leaving the window and bettering herself. But when you have somebody like Dr. Clark, he knows what the issue is, and he's not gonna, say, "Oh, I need to work on myself." He's like, "No, you're the problem. You're making me like this." And there's a lot of people like that in the world, and it's like that's why I think it hits home so well because so many people have know that we go through these motions of just the same thing over and over again, but like people blame it on other stuff, like like I could have gone to college, but like I had to start a family, and like my family was the reason I didn't go to college. Well, let's say you couldn't go to college if you have a family too, like maybe not right then and there because of money, stuff like that, but you could still go later on. And I think also in the sense of like if we're gonna like relate this obviously to the backrooms itself, like the containment versus escape. Like what is Clark trying to do ever since he got in the back room? Stay in there. What is Mary trying to do ever since she gets in there? Leave. Right? Like and that kind of gets me into my next two themes, which is change and comfort. Like like I said, people can notice that window, but like some people don't want to leave because the life that they have like in that moment is fine enough, right? Like once you open that window, you don't really know what's going on like beyond that window. Like Like that's why a lot of people are like nervous when they make big steps, like when people go to college or they're changing their job that they've been at for 20 years. That's why they're so nervous about doing it. Like they don't know what's going to happen, and people take that step, and some people don't, right? Because like they're fine, right? Like they're not happy, but they're fine enough to not want to change, right? And you got to make one of the two. You can either be comfy or you can be uncomfy and make the change, right? Like Clark, that's why he says at the dinner table, like, I don't want to change, right? Like he's not comfortable with himself and with the world, and that's why he stays in the back rooms. Like he's not comfy changing. Here, he feels in control, and I think that doubles down on when he's in the dinner room in his house. He continuously talks about it's his house, right? Like even though he doesn't live there anymore. And I think it's really cool that that's where he chooses to have that meeting with Dr. Mary. Like he's so focused on that, like that moment, right? Like he knows that there's all these other issues, but he doesn't want to leave. He wants to stay there. The backrooms makes him feel safe. But like somebody like that, like Dr. Mary, who I would say also has kind of been through the isolation, she didn't really like it, right? She decided to leave, like when her, maybe it wasn't exactly her choice because somebody barged in the door. She still made the choice to leave. Um, like for example, I forgot to mention this, but there's a scene earlier in the film, kind of like I would say right before or like right after she goes into the back rooms, where after like because I was saying, somebody breaks into the or crashes into the door when she's younger. Uh, you know, fast forward to another flashback where we see Dr. Mary's mom again when she's younger, or when Dr. Mary's younger, she's with her mom, and they're like in a psych ward, and her mom, is in the scrubs or whatever, and she's in a chair, kind of just like spaced out, and the nurse like pulls her around a pillar, and like there's a moment where when she pulls her around the pillar, she kind of like disappears, right? You know, obviously like she's not there anymore. Where folks, you can see that visually through the screen, and then she kind of keeps pushing through into the door, like we're probably never seeing her again, right? And then right before that, when Mary's looking out the windows, yeah, there's windows, but there's like metal shuts on them, right? Like you don't really get to escape this place. But yeah, anyway, like Dr. Mary has made the choice to move on. Like she became a therapist and she's helping other people try to escape, their lives and become better people. And I just think it's very interesting, like, although that was uncomfortable for her, she still made that choice to change, to, move on. And in this movie, we kind of see like maybe like a little bit of a regression for her. Like when she gets haunted by the stone and when they break down her house, right? She kind of like falls back into that, like, that pattern earlier, but then she still moves forward out of that pattern. And I think that's why that scene is like really amazing where when she's fighting Dr. Clark and she gets through the walls and she like looks back at him, I don't think so much she's looking at Pirate Clark rather than looking at Clark, right? Like if you want to just take this as like a thematic moment, um, or like symbolism or whatever. Like she's looking at Clark here. Like Clark became so stuck in his ways, he became a monster and he can't even escape, like the prison that holds him. But she can because she has learned to move beyond that, right? Although like it was uncomfortable for her to do so, maybe you want to add extra emphasis on like her, twisting her ankle, whatever. She was able to still like make it through there. But yeah. So you know. But yeah, no, and then I would say adding an even extra like deeper level to these, themes is I would say a theme of memory. Um, so like as people, like when we experience something, we live through it, it becomes a memory, whether a lasting memory or not, but it becomes a memory. But when you think about it again, it's not 100%. Like maybe it's 99.9% or 99.8%, whatever. But each time you think about it, you lose a little bit. And that's just how it is, unless you have like photogenic memory. Even then, maybe you don't remember everything. And once you do that, like once you start remembering, like not remembering everything enough, you start to lose facts. You start to lose the whole picture, right? Because not everything is painted. And for somebody like Clark, right, when they're looking back at this, they're not getting the whole scope of it. And I think that's why they focus so much on that moment where he gets kicked out of his house. Um, because he's not focusing on anything else besides his stance, right? Like he like apologizes to his wife. He's like, "Oh, like I'm sorry for like waking you up and things." But he doesn't realize everything else. Like Dr. Mary said, he blames everybody else, right? And then as he goes deeper and deeper into the back rooms, right? Amplifies everything, all the issues times 100, right? Like he feels comfortable here. He doesn't want to escape. And then on top of, things in the background already being wonky, right? He probably spends so much time thinking about this moment that he loses everything else, and that's why I'm pretty sure he goes on the offensive during that dinner scene with Mary, because he just sits there spending so much time in that moment, just like focusing on his anger and grief rather than focus like going outside of that room and talking to somebody and being like he could have just talked to his wife the next day and been like, hey, I mean, I guess maybe not if she kicked him out, but you get what I mean, right? Like if I'm having like an argument with somebody, and then I go to my room and I'm just like, man, they're a real bitch, right? And I don't just take a second, and be like, okay, well, like how was I acting, right? And I just sit in my room. I'm like, well, they're a real bitch, and I just keep thinking about it. I was like, what a fucking bitch, right? And I just keep thinking about it more and more and more. I'm getting more aggressive. I'm like, what a big bitch. Like I just keep going, right? I keep falling into that pit of just like anger, resentment, all of that. And that's how Clark is, right? He just keeps falling into that pit, literally, of the backrooms. Um, but yeah, and that happens with so many different things. Also on top of like the theme of memory, like you can talk about the replication in the back rooms, right? Like although they replicate stuff, it's never the same. So like you just add in, emphasis onto all of that. And so like maybe I would say like that could be his wife, the redhead lady, and then he just holds even more anger on him. And maybe that's why he's so like aggressive and like towards the replicants. Like when he stabs him, he's just like, you fuck it. Um, but yeah, I don't know. And like you could kind of see like some of that like early in the film, like when he goes back and looks at the house, like he's like, maybe the fact that the wife's not in the window was on purpose, right? Like, he's focused on the house. He doesn't care so much about the wife. He cares about the house, right? I don't know, like it just talks so much about more like the idea that we're focusing on the wrong things. And when we do that sometimes, that's why we get stuck in the window. Like we might know there is an issue there, but we just don't care, right? We're so like focused on the wrong thing, right? Like maybe for Dr. Mary, she knew the issue was her mother, right? But I don't think she knew that like she's gonna blame her mother for all her issues. She probably just came to the realization eventually that her mother just needed help. And so, although she was a kid and she couldn't help her that well, she had to move on eventually. Clark, he doesn't want to move on. He wants to be so focused on this moment that it becomes his life. And I think it's really cool that by the time he like, kind of like fully like embraces that, his inner self, Pirate Clark, consumes him, right? Like the moment he finally kind of, I would say, comes at peace with everything, like he gets devoured. And that was kind of going at like more so like what I was talking about earlier with like me, like getting more, like if I were to get more aggressive at somebody that I had a disagreement with, like there's normal me, and before I had the argument, and then I had the argument, I kind of go to my room, right? And there's that voice in my head. It's like, you think about it, like you're just sitting there, and the voice in your head's like, wow, that was kind of quite a confrontation you just had, right? And it starts speaking to you more. It's like, oh, she really was a bitch, and you're like, yeah, she was a bitch. And then the voice starts to get even louder, and she's like, yeah, she really was a bitch to you. And you're like, yeah, she really was a bitch to you. And then it kind of gets to a point where like, where are you anymore? It's just that voice in your head speaking. That's what I'm saying. Like you get so like deep into that head, and that you could maybe even take it to another level of the window where like this is the room, right? Like, let's say the red part is the window to the outside. I'm right here. I had an argument so much that I'm gonna take a window and go deeper, right? Like, let me take it a step further. So, on the door, or sorry, in Clark's shop, he's outside in the real world. We only see him like maybe outside once or twice, excluding the meetings. He drives up to the store. He goes into the store outside, like away from the outside, right? There's windows. He refuses kind of to look in them. And then he gets obsessed and he goes down into the basement. He's going down into it, right? He's going down into his inner psyche. He hates real life so much. He is so focused on the fact that everybody has wronged him that he escapes into another world. He has a window into this other world that he has created with the tape that he just falls so in love with. Like how more on the nose could you get? Right? You have the window to escape and the window into deeper insanity. Like what? Oh my god! Right? Like why would you want to leave a place if you don't feel like if you're comfortable there? Like what would make you feel more comfortable? Going deeper into that place. Like that's like it's just right there. Like oh, the duct tape is right there. Like he had to create his own window because he didn't want to take the window that was right in front of him. That's insane. That is insane. That is insane. That is insane. But moving forward, there are two other themes I want to talk about real quick. I know you're kind of like, "Hey, Josh, it's a lot of themes," but no, like just the next theme is patterns. Like when they were talking about or when Dr. Mara was talking about how we have the same repetitions every day and it kind of creates us. I like that's true, right? Like she was kind of created by like the trauma that she had and that kind of forced her into her own situation. And then Dr. Clark was became a I wouldn't say evil person but like a bad person because of the things issues that he had. And not only do like our past, make us, but the way we act to that past, which is why it's so important when Dr. Mary says, you need to choose to, like move on basically, right? Like get out of the window, right? Because like I could sit here and be upset that I got in an argument with somebody and just be so focused on that, and then like I'm just missing out on everything, right? I just get so focused on that that I miss that there's like life is so much more than that one petty argument, right? And like I just get stuck in my pattern. I'm just like, "Oh, like this person wronged me. This person wronged me," right? Like what type of life is that? Or just even so much on like the idea of like, somebody just keeps doing the same thing over and over again. They don't change. Like you're miserable. Like why would you do that? And obviously that gets more into the like the theme of like comfortableness and like change. Like I said, like if you open that window, you don't know what's out there. Like you might see what's out there, but like you don't know what it feels like. You don't know what it sounds like. None of that. It's untouched ground. It's the unknown, which is like another theme, which I will get into it in a second. But like patterns more so on the back rooms also is that like everything in there is a pattern, right? Like you got the wallpaper, you got stuff repeating itself, but there's also a lot that's not the same in the back rooms, right? Like that's what's so appealing about it. Like initially, it makes you feel comfortable because like it's stuff that you've seen before, but then there's like an eeriness to it. Like there's a lot of unknown in there, I think this is like more so a metaphor for life, right? Like I could just do the same thing I want to do every day and never make anything of myself, or never get anywhere, and I might be fine with that, right? Because I'm too afraid to go out there and change something about myself to make anything of myself, right? And that's why I'm saying this movie's so deep on so many levels, right? Like you could take it to the fact that like oh, it's about change, or oh, it's about life as a whole. Like there's so much going on here, and the fact that you can relate it to just like the back rooms, it's so amazing. It really is really wonderful, and like the themes themselves are really interesting themes because of the fact that this is something so human, right? Like like literally every person goes through interactions that affects their life, and the way that we react to those and how it changes us is how we become a person, right? like like everybody just goes through that. Like everybody can choose to stay in their room and not become different, become grow bitter, right? Or they can move on and like become somebody else, right? And it's crazy. It's crazy how like deep this movie is and its themes are. Like, don't get me wrong, every horror movie has like crazy deep themes, right? Like, because that's kind of like what the back horror movies are made off of. Like, our worst fears come to life. But I don't know. I just love how well this movie was able to like talk about these themes. And I could talk about these things forever. I feel like I'm just circling, so I don't want to like talk about it even more. But like when you're looking at it, there's so much to just take from it, right? Like it's just really awesome. I don't know. I don't know. There's so many more themes, but yeah, I'm gonna leave the themes where it is. I'm gonna leave the themes where it is. But yeah, as for story and writing, like I said, the story is really awesome. Really liked it. I liked the development the characters went on. Right, like we got to see um, Dr. Mary and Clark, kind of have some of the same issues, but they went about it differently. I thought that was really awesome. Right, like obviously in movies you're gonna have characters. You can have your Superman, you're gonna have your Zod. Where they're the same but they're different. And a lot of times that works. Here, I think it works really, really well, right? Especially with the theme and the issues that they're going through, right? Like you can have somebody stay in your room and either move and grow or go deeper and hurt themselves even more, right? Like the theme is just really interesting, and like I said, I really liked it, especially in with the back rooms, like as the background, like it was really nice. Like I said, I really like the story for the characters. I really like the story in general. Like, it's super easy to follow, but it's also so layered. It's just really awesome. I like the writing in this movie. The writing in this movie is awesome, just perfect. Moving some more on the pacing, I think it's really well done, right? Like you're going from A to B to C, like I said. Now, might be a little slow because like how I was talking about it, but once you're in there watching it, like it pulls you in right away. Like I don't really think there's a moment where you're just kind of like, oh, can this movie like hurry the fuck up? Like I really don't think there's a moment like that, right? And I'm not just saying that because I'm dick writing the movie. I'm literally saying that because of how it's written. Like you're going from A to B to C. Now, I will say, I think maybe some of the async stuff like might make people like some people upset. Like they bring it up and then we don't really get to talk about it, or maybe the stuff with Dr. Mary and her mother, we bring it up and we don't talk about it. Now, yes, that's kind of annoying, and I do agree with the sentiment that every movie should, kind of tie up most of its, story points that it brings in. But, some people are gonna be like, "Oh, well, they brought it up because we're gonna talk about it in the sequel." I don't like. I also agree with the fact that like a movie should stand on its own. We shouldn't make a movie and then be like, "Oh, well, there's a sequel coming, so we're not gonna talk about everything." Like that's not a good excuse, right? But I also think that a lot of the stuff that's in this film helps like add to like the weirdness, the awkwardness of the back room by bringing up stuff that doesn't really get explained. So, like, there's already a sequel confirmed for this movie, but if, like, for some reason it never happens, then I think it's fine the way it is, right? Like, yes, I would wanna know more about Dr. Mary and her family. Yes, I would wanna know more about Async. But like, the way it is, I think it's fine, right? I think it works, especially with the backgrounds being so bizarre and you're just like, "What the fuck?" Like, it's meant to be like that. It's not meant to answer every question. Like, literally no movie does that, right? Because like there's some things that are always left open into interpretation. We don't have the time here to sit and like get everything explained to us. Like that's just never works. Like literally no movie is like that. Like things are interpreted for your own interpretation. We move past like nobody needs to see a person walking from point A to point B. We just cut from point A to point B, right? Now, that's more so time wise, but I'm just saying like there are some things I would say in the story that, I can see a bunch some people being upset by the fact that we don't get fully explained, but I think it's fine. It's fine because it works in the narrative of the story. Um, but yeah, for the most part, the story's fine. The pacing's really wonderful. I will say, like, I wish I kind of knew, I guess, the timeline, but like that's not like that big of an issue. Because like you're going from point A to B, you don't have a moment to breathe. You're always going and going. Even in the moments where there's, like, no speaking in the back rooms, like, when Clark's walking around or Dr. Mary's walking around, like, it's quiet. They're just walking around. You're engaged, right? Excuse me. Especially that second time where, like, you don't know where Clark is and you're like, "Oh, is somebody gonna come attack Dr. Mary?" But, like, more so in that first part, you're just, like you're real quiet. You're just watching it, waiting and seeing Clark walk through the back rooms. You might be in awe because of, like, how awesome the set is, but you're just like you're quite literally just watching it, and like I don't think there's a moment where you can be like, this movie sucks. It's just really good. The pacing's really wonderful, and because of the writer and everybody else that helped pitch in on the story. So like you got to give the kudos, and I'll give the kudos to not only Kane Parsons but the writer of this film, Will Sudick. I don't know if I pronounced that right. But yeah, they did a phenomenal job in this movie. The writing in this movie is superb. Like I said, the characters are awesome. The story is awesome. Like kind of like how I mentioned earlier, like everybody comes to the movie because it's the Backrooms. But the human side of the story was done really, really well, right? Like it felt grounded with the heroes, sorry, the characters. The Backrooms felt connected, grounded, but also so mysterious. So I think they did such a great job. Now I will say, looking more so towards the sequel, how is that going to be topped? We'll see. But I I'm just saying, like, more so just on this movie, I think it was done really well. I hope it's not a lightning in the bottle situation, but we will see. We will see. But yeah, no, the writing in this movie is just phenomenal, phenomenal. All right, moving on to the production side. So the aesthetic of this film, I think the aesthetic of this film is really well done, and I think a lot of it has to deal with Kane Parsons being here. Like I said, he has done a lot of the short films on the Backrooms before, right? And so he obviously knows like what he wants the Backrooms to feel like. But it's not just him, it's everybody on the production team. And we'll get into them in a second, but I'm glad that he was able to make the film the way he wanted to. Now, I mean, obviously, I wasn't there with him when it was made, so I don't know if like A24 was like, "Hey, don't do this." But I'm just saying, for the most part, I'm pretty sure like this is his vision, right? And obviously, he's the director; it would be his vision. But sometimes things get lost in translation, because the studio wants to do their own thing and stuff like that. And that's kind of like what I was saying earlier. Like, I'm glad A24 was the one that made this film because I think that like for the most part they don't really mess with their films once they kind of like set everything up. They kind of just like let the creators make their film and that's kind of it. Now, like obviously every production company says hey, don't do this, do that, whatever. But I'm just saying like if this was like Blumhouse or like Monkey Paw or something else, especially Blumhouse, like, and I don't mean to shit on Blumhouse, but I kind of do. Like, like in the past, they made really good films, like really good horror films. But now they just make really shit horror films. Like they're just making a film to make movie. Like that's it. We don't care about the story. We don't care about the themes. Like, which is really great about horror films is that they have really good stories, iconic characters, and themes that are really good. And the reason that they're really good is that people can relate to them. And not everybody's like Freddy Krueger or whatever, but they, like I said, they pull out our worst fears and they amplify them times 100, which this movie does really, really well. And Blumhouse, I'm just using that as an example. They just take things and they turn it into a profit, which obviously it's a movie industry. I know that everything is a profit, but at the same time, like how much of a profit do you need to make and how much of the movie are you willing to compromise? And this isn't me just trying to rant about Five Nights at Freddy's movies, even though we'll save that for the Five Nights at Freddy's movie review. But like, there's so much the Five Nights at Freddy's story that they could have done. And I know Scott Cotton, he wrote the movie, but I'm just saying, like, to me, they dumbed down Five Nights at Freddy's so they could sell more money and target it towards younger audiences. Like, it doesn't seem like they cared enough about the franchise and the story to make it something that's authentic. They just wanted to make a fuck ton of money, and they did. Don't get me wrong, but I'm just saying, like here, obviously, I would say the Backrooms are a little harder to translate, into film because you could take literally from whatever. But they did it such a good job that yes, it was successful, but two, it felt like the Backrooms. So like I'm really happy that they were able to nail it on their head, and especially with Kane Parsons being the head of it. Also, more so on the aesthetic, it felt like a creepy pasta. It felt like found footage. And obviously it's found footage, you just grab a tape recorder, right? But like I said, I've never really watched any of his short films that are found footage before, but one, It just felt like something you could find on like okay, when I say this, like I don't mean in a negative way, but it felt like something that you would watch on YouTube, right? Like I would say found footage is more so like the 4chan, the Reddit, the YouTube era of people, right? Like people back then, they could read Stephen King, stuff like that, right? So their horror was like a little different than like more modern horror, right? Modern horror works off of certain things. It works off of like photos, it works off of sound, music, stuff like that. This movie was really well done and it's able to encapsulate all of that and take it to the next level because it is a feature length film. Now, made by a huge production company, right? Like the sounds, the music, it sounds like a creepypasta. The actual, like, Backrooms itself is from a creepypasta. Like it nailed all of those things that make it so wonderful and just amplified it. Like that's why I'm saying like the aesthetic works really well here, and that's why I was saying like if it was somebody else that made this film, I don't think like not director wise, right? Like I'm not trying to crap on King Parsons, he did a really good job, but I'm just saying like more production company wise, that I don't think they would have been able to make a movie as successful and as faithful. But yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to say about aesthetic wise. But moving on to directing, I think that Kane Parsons did an awesome job, especially for this being his first like actual big movie. Obviously, having made prior Backrooms feature film or sorry, short films, it helped him a lot, but he still did a good job. Like it's not very easy for somebody to go from YouTube straight into like a huge box office hit, right? Like kudos to bro. Like extremely like great job. Now, Obsession just came out and that director, he just came from YouTube to you know, big screen, but like, and I also made a bunch of money, but like, that's very rare, right? So like, I just want to give a shout out to Kane Parson. Like, he did a great job, especially for being like a 21 year old. Like, he's super young, so he deserves it. But yeah, like, so kudos to bro, kudos to bro. The next thing I want to talk about is acting. So we were kind of talking about this earlier. There are a lot of good actors in this film. My first part is going to be Chiwetel. Uh, EGO4. Awesome job. I love Clark's character in this movie, and he did such an awesome job. I've never seen EGO4 like in a main role like this before, but he did an awesome job. Like he like literally did an awesome job. Like I said earlier, he's able to go from like quiet to down on his luck dude to just like losing his shit. And it just gets more and more and more as the movie goes on. And I was really happy he did such a great job, right? Like you could see the dude lose his mind, but also feel like kind of sad for him in a sense, kind of like in that dinner scene when Dr. Mary's like, "Hey, like this is how the fuck like you just fucked up, right?" And he kind of has like a sad face, and then he kind of comes at peace with it. Like there's never a moment in this movie where like when he's acting, it doesn't feel authentic. Like you can tell he's so obsessed with all these issues and the backrooms itself that like you could see somebody else going through this and being like, "Yeah, I could see somebody else making the mistake." Like hindsight, you're like, "I wouldn't do that." But like if you're in his shoes, you would kind of do the same thing, right? Same goes with Renee, like Miss Miss Rensvay. Like she did an awesome job. Like not only being able to portray a soft observer type of role, but she was also to do like kind of like an offensive type of role too. Like she's quietly observing Clark a lot in the meetings, but then like the moment Clark leaves, she kind of like takes over the whole scene. Like especially that second time when he kind of explains the backrooms to her, and then she kind of like her face drops, and she kind of goes straight back to the flashbacks and everything, like she's been there before. She did like a really awesome job with that. Like she did really good. And then when she's able to like clap back at Mark, or not Mark, sorry, Clark, in that dinner scene, and then when she's fighting Pirate Clark, she does a great job. And then she's able to just like desensitize herself to the world real quick, like just like fall, like just leave. She really did an awesome job, and I really loved the scenes where she's having the trauma come back and haunt her. Like there's so many things that she's done in this movie that are awesome. And like I said, I've never really seen her in a movie before, like at all, and she did a really good job, right? Like, they both did a great job, and I cannot wait to see them going forward in other films. Like, I really wanna see if, Renee comes back in the sequel, right? Like, could be a whole new cast, don't know. I really I really don't think Captain Clark's coming back, but you never know. Either way, I wanna see these guys in more movies. I definitely wanna check out, um, Miss Rinsvey's other films, Sentimental Value, see how well she does there too. But yeah, they're the standouts for me in this film. Like, obviously, they're the main characters, but, like, still, you know what I mean? Like, they did such an awesome job. I can't just be like, "Oh, like, one person did better than the other." They both did so well, like, especially portraying, like, similar but yet such different characters. They they did such an awesome job. My next person I really wanna point out is Lukita Maxwell, who played Catherine, the assistant to Clark. She did a really good job on top of, Finn Bennett, who played Robbie, the boyfriend. Like, there's a lot of times in movies where, you get the person that gets killed off and you're like, "Oh," like, "We don't really care about them." And I wouldn't say they don't have, like, a crazy huge part in the movie, but, like, when they die, you're kinda like, "Oh," right? Like, you're kinda sad a little bit about because like, their characters are really likable, like, they do a good job with their roles, so, I really wanna shout out to them. And I'm not gonna lie, most of the time I saw Miss Maxwell, I thought she was the lady from Andy Mack, like the mother, but I was wrong. I knew I had seen her before, and she's from Shrinking. And I thought she did a really good job, because I've seen her in Shrinking before. She has like a completely different role, and here she did also another really good role. So shout out to her and Mr. Bennett. They did a really good job. The other person I wanted to talk about real quick is Mr. Robert. Sorry if I mispronounce this, but Mr. Robert Bob Rock Rob Bob Rockzinski. No, Bob Rockzicki. He's the guy that was actually in the costume for Pirate Clark. And if you don't know who this guy is, he actually was also the evil alien from Alien Romulus. And he's like a really really tall dude, and he's able to use that for himself. I think he also played basketball, if I'm not mistaken. But he ended up becoming an actor, and he was able to use his height, to his advantage for some of these kind of like roles where you got to play like a lanky character. And here he did like a really awesome job. Like his move, like he doesn't really speak at all, but his movements are like really, really awesome, right? Um, his quiet, like creepy movements or interactions, and the way he's able to play off of the other characters is really awesome too. I don't know. These actors just did like a really good job. Also, real quick, I want to shout out to Mark Duplass, the guy who played Dr. Phil, the async agent or the async doctor. Like he really didn't have a lot of talking roles, but his face and his acting did really, really well. Like obviously, like when he's in front of the TV, he's like, right, like he's like, oh fuck, like I've seen this guy before. But I really like the scene where he's talking to Dr. Mary in the interrogation room. Like you don't see him a lot, right? And you could just have somebody in that role, that's that's kind of playing it passively, I would say, right? Because you don't really see him a lot. He adds a lot of gravitas to the role, especially when he like looks into the window and like you could tell that he's been there before, right? Like he does a really good job at that. Or like um I don't know, I really like that scene with him. He does a really good job. I really hope he returns for the next film. And I've seen him before in a lot of other things. He's a really good actor. So I want to just say congratulations to those people. They did an awesome, fantastic, fantastic job. Next thing I want to talk about is the cinematography by Jeremy Cox. The cinematography in this movie is quite literally one of my favorite things. Like I love so many things about this movie, but cinematography is one of the best things because like it makes you feel so many things in this movie. Like I was talking earlier with how we see Mr. Clark or Mitch Clark versus Dr. Mary walking in the back rooms. Like Clark, we're in there with him. It's not, like found footage, but like we're right next to him and we're experiencing it's big, it's inviting us in, right? It's kind of like that apple of the eye. We're in, we're walking around, we're seeing how big it is, and then with Dr. Mary, we're very far away. We're like cautious, we're backing it up, right? And one of my favorite shots from the film, which we'll get into in a second, like later, is the scene where Dr. Clark's looking down in this like this I would say like a window. It's not really a window. It's just like a huge like uh, hole. There we go. That's a better word. Huge hole where it has all these chairs going down, and we get like this up top shot where we see all these chairs, but in this little corner we see Doctor Clark, kind of like him looking into the window of the Backrooms. I really like that. Or some other stuff that I really liked in the film is when Clark Clark and Dr. Mary are having their meeting. First time they have it versus the second time they have it, it's kinda like a subtle thing. I don't know if it was done on purpose, but, like, the first time they had it, they're doing their thing. But the second time they have it, they kinda position it differently, like, the camera's in a different position. Even Dr. Clark sorry, not sorry, I don't know why I keep saying that. Clark is in a different spot. He doesn't sit on the couch. He sits on a different couch, and it's kinda like the Backrooms, right? Like, they move like, they're always transitioning and changing and all that, and I thought that was really, really cool, like, to me, it felt intentional, but it might not have been, but I thought that was a really cool choice. Or, like, another thing I really liked from this film is when Clark is in his store, like, in his office, it's very claustrophobic, and the camera's, like, right off to the side on the wall, making it feel very tiny, right? Like, Clark feels like a failure. He feels trapped in this lifestyle that, you know, he's stuck in there, and that when we get into the back room, he feels so open and free. It adds like that extra layer to why he wants to stay there. I thought it was really awesome. I love the cinematography in here, and I didn't even know that Mr. Cox did the cinematography for Long Legs, or that he worked on the Monkey. And I feel like those two films like really helped him with this film, and I really want to see where he goes next. Like maybe he'll return for the sequel. I would really love that. But I also want to keep my eye out for any other horror films he does because I think he did a really phenomenal job here. I think it was really well. Okay, good example also was last example I promise was when him and Clark and the repairman are messing with the circuit breaker. Okay, yeah, circuit breaker, and they're messing with like all the electrical breaker tabs or whatever, and we cut to the back and the lights flickering, it's like that voice in the back is talking to you. That's how it made me feel, and I thought that was awesome. I thought that was really cool. I don't know. I really liked a lot of the camera work in here. I thought it was really awesome. Now, also another part of the camera work that I want to talk about is the found footage part, like especially that's Act Two of the movie, where we're walking around. Like again, I've never watched any of Kane Parsons' short films, but I feel like they're able to add it in really well. It felt authentic to the movie and also as a creepypasta. I just wanted to say, like, really good film cinematography and really good, like, creepypasta-esque um, found footage. I really like that. It was really cool. So shout out to Mr. Jeremy Cox. All right, next I want to talk about the SFX, and the music in this movie because I thought it was just done tremendously well. Because like I was saying earlier, creepy pastas work really really well because of the sound, the photo, like the videos, like the photos and all that in the story, right? Like it's just like when I say cheaply made, I don't mean in a negative sense. I just mean like not a lot of people have the same type of funding that a big production movie has, so they have to work with what they have, right? So a lot of times you see creepypastas, it's just like a few photos, and it's disturbing music and a lot of disturbing sounds. That's how they get their scare factor, right? Like not only is the story itself kind of scary, but like the literal like noises themselves are what meant to creep you out, right? Like the creak of the door, the sound of somebody walking on a wooden, floor, like stuff like that. In this movie, like I said, they amplified all the creepy pastas and found footage stuff up to like 100 because this is a movie, obviously. Like it needs to be like really good, but like they're able to make it feel at home, but also like 10 times better. So, like for example, like the music. Like they do a lot of like one note, like ding, 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 and it makes you feel spaced out, and it also brings in that like feeling of isolation or kind of like an echo, like when especially when we're in the back rooms, like dong, 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 like when Clark is walking around, it's empty in there, right? So it's adding that idea of loneliness. It's adding the idea of like huge, big with the echo, but they also are able to make some of the music kind of sound like a little alien to me. And I know you're like, "Alien?" Like, where the fuck you pulling Alien from? Like, just to me at least, like, if you're listening to the music, some of the music kinda sounds like Alien, like, I've never been here before, like, this is weird, this is a weird world to me, it's making me feel like that, and on top of the sounds, like, I'm not just talking about, like, "Oh, there were scuttering sounds," but, like, "Oh, like, what was that?" Like, the sound and the music work so well together that, like, I can't just leave one by itself, like, they work really well together. Now, this isn't like Pearl Harbor or, like, Avengers where the music is like, "No, no, no," like, huge, like, crazy, like, cinema music, but, like, it's still, like, really good music, like, I really liked it, especially for, like, what it's trying to do here. So, like, I really wanted to give a round of applause to the SFX team, who was led by Eugenio Battaglia. Sorry if I mispronounced that. And then also for the composers, Kane Parsons and Ido von Bremen. I actually didn't know Kane Parsons worked on some of the music, but I guess, like, if he worked on the short films, then he worked on some of the music. So, but yeah, they did a phenomenal job. They did a phenomenal job. Next people I want to talk about is the set production, like the people that worked on the sets. So Danny Vermey and Trevor Johnston, or yeah, Johnston, and anybody else. I don't know if you guys know or not, but they made a 30,000 square foot set of the Backrooms. Like that in and of itself is crazy. Like don't get me wrong, right? Like every movie has these crazy sets, right? Like they're all building sets. That and like just them building sets is really awesome, right? You're able to bring something from from just pure thought, from a book to life. That's amazing. Here though, they made a big ass fucking set, like one continuous big set, which was awesome. And it felt amazing looking at it, right? Like obviously there's camera work, seeing like, oh, I hid my camera here and stuff like that. But like when we're walking around the back rooms, you could like it didn't feel like a fan film. It felt like a genuine film. Like I felt like I had no idea what's coming around the next corner. Right? Like they did a great job at making each room feel distinct, feel alive, feel creepy. All right, like the shadows, the lighting, awesome job. But even like as we're running away later, and we're going into these weirder rooms, like a Christmas room, the bathroom, the pool room, the hive room that I was talking about. Like I don't know if that one was CGI, but you know what I mean. Even the furniture store itself, like, it's kinda creepy too, especially with the basement, like but more so more so on the backroom set itself, like, not every room is, like, filled to the brim with stuff, right? But even the ones that aren't filled, they're still pretty creepy, and they just did such an awesome job with the sets, like, I have to give a shout out to them, right? Like, everybody in this movie is doing a great job in their department that I just can't not mention everybody, like, including this set, like, this set is awesome. Like, when you're watching it, because like, okay, like, when you're watching the Backrooms oh, sorry, when you look at anything Backrooms, like, the movie there's always a different room, right, that you don't know about, especially on, like, Roblox Backrooms, right? Here, like, you quite literally don't get a room that looks like another one, right? Like, it has the same wallpaper, don't get me wrong. But, like, the fact that we have, like, the entry room with the what is it? The furniture to a bathroom to one room okay, especially that room downstairs where, Pirate Clark comes and attacks Robbie and Cat, like, that's a creepy fucking room. Like, to me, that felt like a room from, like, Poppy's Playtime or, FNAF. Like, that was a really awesome room. Like, I really liked that room. And that scene where he pulled like, I just really love that scene. Like, to me, it felt like a Poppy Playtime cutscene where, like, Robbie got pulled through the door and the door closed right up on it. Like, that was just an awesome fucking scene. Like, I really liked that. And just like the absurd, or like even like when they're in that room and you look up like at the hallway that's like turned and everything. That's like I don't know if that was done practically, but still, it looks really awesome. So like huge shout out to them. Last people that I want to shout out are the makeup and costume designers, led by Micah Cade and Madeline Hermans and everybody else that was in there. They did a really awesome job. Um, Now like this isn't like a timepiece or anything where like we're watching a Julius Caesar movie, a George Washington movie. Like we don't have crazy clothes or anything. Like this is set in the 90s. Don't get me wrong, and they do wear like 90s clothes. From what I know about 90s clothes, right? Like I said, I wasn't born in the 90s, but beyond that, like there. One of the things that I really liked about it was, especially in that first meeting scene that we get with Dr. Mary and Clark, is they kind of wear these clothes that have like these really nice designs, and it kind of like they're like moving in all these different directions, like patterns and stuff like that. It made me feel like, oh, this is the back rooms, right? Like the clothes felt like back rooms. Like for Mary, she was wearing that, and to me, she's wearing that because she kind of like the trauma with her mom and everything has created her, so she carries that with her, right? But also, for Dr. Clark, like his is a tie, like it's suffocating him. So I thought that was really well. Also, like, sorry, I kind of get on track here, but theme that I wanted to talk about real quick because I got reminded of the clothes is that for somebody like Dr. Mary, although she's going through that trauma, like it doesn't ever escape, right? Like it's a constant battle, and I like that about her character too. Like, although you could be like, oh yeah, she moved on, into that. No, she's, like, still struggling with her issues from the movie, like she says, like, everything that we go through is what makes us, right? And we're constantly changing, constantly evolving, but, like, for somebody like Clark, he gets stuck there and he can't move on, right? Like, we're always gonna have that issue, we're always gonna be thinking about that moment, and it's always gonna bother us, but you just have to keep moving forward, and I really like that idea that Dr. Mary still kept struggling with the issue. Like, right? Like, the house got torn down. It shouldn't bother her anymore, but it does. Like, because that's real life. You can't just, like, destroy the creature that created you, right? Like, it's just a part of you, and I thought it was really nice. Like, maybe I'm thinking too much into the clothes, but I thought it was really nice that she was wearing a shirt, like, with the pattern, kinda like the Backrooms, kinda saying, like, "Hey," she's moved on, she's grown beyond that, but, it's still a part of her, right? And I like how Clark's is more so foreshadowing that it's gonna suffocate him, kill him. That they each are speaking their own things, and I really like that about the clothing. Right, I thought that was really awesome. The second thing I want to talk about more so clothing and makeup design wise was Pirate Clark. I thought Pirate Clark was really awesome to come to life. Now, also the actor is really tall, so that made it look really nice. But also just like the costume design itself, like the Pirate Clark monster design was really cool, and the costume, the prosthetics for his mask look really awesome. Like they look uncanny, but not too uncanny in a way that like it's off-putting. It just looks really like weird and disgusting in a good way. You're like, oh, that looks like it can come from the back rooms. Also, I forgot to mention this in my letterbox review, but I'll probably go edit it afterwards. The design of the replicants are awesome. Like the makeup of like the multiple noses, the different eyes, like that is fucking phenomenal. I love that. That was awesome sauce. That was amazing. Just amazing. Everybody in this movie, from the production side to the writing side to the acting, you name it, did such an awesome job at bringing everything in this movie to life that like it's so hard to not mention somebody. And I love that movie so much. And I don't know, I just love so many things about it. Like you could tell, like I said earlier, how much love and care was put into this film. And another thing is like this film didn't have the biggest budget, right? Like this is Ken Parsons' first big film, right? So he's not the Russo brothers where he can just get unlimited paycheck to do anything. They did such a great job with the money that they had and the like resources that they had. So like even more kudos to them for being able to pull off something amazing, right? And like I can only imagine what the sequel is going to look like, moving forward, right? With even bigger budget, especially with this being like the highest grossing A24 film as of right now. So it like just I really wanted to shout out everybody in this film that made this movie just become such an awesome piece of cinema history. It's just really really awesome, really really awesome. I love everybody that worked on this film. So thank you for making such a great film. Moving on. As to possible plot holes or unanswered threads or possible other films. Like I said, this movie's already going to be. It's already has a sequel being made. I don't know if it's coming out anytime soon. I know Kane Parsons said he wanted to work on a Portal movie. Don't really know the timeline of that, so can't really talk about it. But obviously, I think next movie they're going to talk more so on the async stuff. Like I said, I keep saying this, but like I'm just gonna say it again. I don't know much about his short feature films about the Backrooms. And I think this one kind of like ties in like in the timeline somewhere. So like I don't know like if the other ones are more so async focused. then maybe like the sequel won't be async focused. But I don't know. I think that sequel is gonna be async focused and more so Dr. Mary focused, maybe. I could really see them going in like a movie like prequel way. That would be really cool. Like maybe his mother, maybe Dr. Mary's mother was somebody that was a part of somebody that did go through the backrooms originally. I could see that, or maybe we focus like Dr. Phil or something. Like I, Dr. Phil. I think I just now paid attention to that, like Dr. Phil. Like I know, focus on the wrong thing, but yeah, no, I could see something like that. Like I don't know, there's a lot of different ways they could take the sequel, and like I said, I really just hope that they're able to not have a lightning in the bottle moment. Like I hope they're able to keep up such a great, phenomenal, job, writing, production design, especially production design. I really want to see how they top this next time, right? Like how wherever they set it, whatever place in the world they set it, whatever rooms we see, I'm really excited for that. Story wise, I really can't wait to see how they top this. Like obviously when you have movies of the same genre, well, not genre, the same story, like universe or whatever, like you're gonna have the same kind of themes, obviously. But I mean, it doesn't have to just be retreading the same water, right? Like every time we watch a Batman movie, for the most part, we're talking about the same story, but, like, maybe this Batman or this Bruce Wayne sees it this way, maybe this director wants to take it another way, like, we got Detective Batman, Gothic Batman, Dangerous Batman, Sympathetic Batman, like, you get what I mean, right? Like, we don't just have to have Backrooms Part 2, right? Like, we can discover other issues that the Backrooms could pull out of people, right? Like, kind of like the super soldier serum with Captain America, like it amplifies the qualities of his character. Like Clark was already having issues before he walked in the backrooms. The backrooms did not create his issues; it amplified his issues, right? So, like, I want to see how that works in the sequel. Also, speaking about like quote unquote spin-off sequels, this movie was phenomenal for a creepypasta movie. So, like, I wrote this in my letterbox review is that I think it did such an awesome job that I can't wait to see them make more creepypasta type of films. And there's so many stories out there. Like Siren Head just got announced. I can't wait to see that. I think that's a really cool story. Or Jeff the Killer. I really want to see that. I really like that story. I saw him on a iceberg video. Or like there's this one my friend used to show me all the time where like there's like I think they're actually called replicants or not, where like there's this experiment happening at one point where like all these clones of people are made, and then if they come to you, then they're gonna come and kill you and like replace you and stuff like that. I guess it's kinda like us, maybe, but not exactly, right? But like there's so many creepy pasta, 4chan, Reddit, YouTube stories out there that like you can pick from and I think this is much more of a modern, like, horror thing that, like, people can actually, like, relate to because like, a lot of horror fans like this type of horror, at least, younger horror fans that, like yeah, I think it would be very beneficial to, like, the horror genre as a whole if they were to move forward with this. Like, I really want to see that, um, going forward. So, like, hopefully Siren Head does well, right? And hopefully other like horror production studios like Blumhouse or Bunky Paw realize that like, hey, you can't just make a quick buck off of this movie. Like you have to put effort into like these type of movies, right? Um, like I guess like the Backrooms, not so much relates to this, but like these other creepy pastas, there's not so much lore, right? Like maybe there's like one or two YouTube videos, and that's about it, right? Like yeah, you can have your Matt Pats and your other people that just like delve into it and give you the lore, even if it's not real or not. But like when you're making the movie, you might not have all of those resources that like the Backrooms has, like the 800 fucking videos and Roblox games that are out there, or the 800 like Reddit subreddits that are made about this. Like, I'm just using this example. I don't know that much about Siren Head, but like Siren Head, or actually, I guess the clone story I know. There's not that much story about it. Sorry, videos about it, but like you're gonna have to write some new like stuff there. Like you're gonna have to add some new dialogue in there. So like don't cheap out on that is what I'm saying, right? Like you want to make a bet. Like if you're a movie studio and they put out Backrooms and you want to make your own version of Backrooms, well, you want to top that, right? Well, you can't just top that by just throwing out a film, right? You top that by making a really really good film. So like one, I can't wait to see more of these creepypasta films, but I hope they're really good. That way, people like movie execs don't be like, oh, right, like why did we take a chance on like creepypasta stuff? Like, right? Like it's one thing if you're making a movie off like a really popular superhero or book, because those are like well established like things that like people like, right? I would say creepypasta and stuff like that is kind of like niche horror genre, right? Like it's a campfire story, right? Like, and I'm not saying campfire stories can't be horror movies. They are like La Llorona or stuff like that. Like those are like folk tales that have become really popular. I would say creepypasta is not that popular, right? And that's why it hasn't been made a movie yet, right? Like, who would make a movie about Jeff the Killer? Like, I don't like. Obviously, the fan base is huge right now, and it's only going to get bigger with stuff like Backrooms making creepypastas bigger. But like back then, like, there's no need to make a movie like that. Like, that wouldn't be profitable, right? Like, not many people know about that. People know about Spider-Man. Like, that's going to pull in $2 billion. I'm just saying. I hope it does really the other movies do really well, that way we're able to keep getting these movies, and I hope, like, one doesn't come out and just ruin it for the rest of us, right? But Backrooms did a phenomenal job, so I can't wait to see that. Public perception versus personal reception. I think a lot of people really like this movie. From what I read, they really like this movie. I really like this movie. Now I will say, like I said earlier in the video, there were some people that are like, oh, this is not the Backrooms. And yeah, it was open to their own interpretation. Always on my like on my not only on my videos, but just like in general. Like you can have your own opinion. But I think so much more like the reason it was so like I don't want to say controversial, but like basically is because everybody has their own opinion on backrooms. Like there's not one set lore on the backrooms. Like I said, it was made on 4chan, and then everybody else kind of made their own version of it, right? There's like maybe some things that we kind of like to keep the same, right? And like even like the idea that like he would like Doc Clark and other people are allowed to go in and out of the back rooms upset people because like I guess the basic idea is clip into reality and that out of reality and that's it. You're just in the back rooms. You're stuck. You're stuck, Chuck. And like I guess that's a like a major issue. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's just one story, right? Like this is not the be all end all back rooms, right? Like who's saying somebody in a couple of years can't make another backrooms movie? Right? Or like just go watch a video on YouTube if you really don't like it that much. Like there's hundreds of videos on YouTube. Or just write your own movie, your own story. And I would love to see that on the big screen. Now I don't know if A24 holds exclusive rights to the backrooms. I don't know about that. But I'm just saying, like, there's so many different ways you could take the story that like, if you don't like it, it's one thing. Like I don't like the FNAF movies, but I still like FNAF. Right? Like at the end of the day, you're entitled to your own opinion, but I mean I don't know. For the most part, most people like the movie. I like the movie. I thought it was really well. Like you heard me dick riding the movie, like all video. I really can't wait to see the sequel. I think it comes out 2028, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, it was really good. I don't know. Let me know below what you guys thought about the Backrooms movie. Let me know. Let me know. Very interested to talk to you about it. Okay, longevity of the film. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I think this is gonna go in a lot of people's collection, not only horror fans, because like I think a lot of horror fans like this. Like not even just creepypasta fans, like genuine horror fans. Like I think they really like this movie. I think a lot of cinema people really like this movie because it's a really well done movie. So I think it's gonna go in a lot of horror fans' collection. It's definitely gonna go in Josh's collection. I think it's gonna go in a lot of like obviously backroom people's collection, creepypasta people's collection, moviegoers. I think I already said moviegoers, but like yeah, it's gonna go in a lot of people's collection. Now, obviously, we live in a time where people don't always collect physical media, but like when I say collection, I actually kind of mean both. I mean physical and digital. I think a lot of people are gonna like keep this movie with them, right? Like I don't think this is a niche favorite. Like every like I might say, like, maybe in 20 years, might not exactly remember this movie, but, like, I don't know how many of them they're gonna make, so this might be a huge new horror franchise, I really don't know, right? Like, obviously, they're gonna make a sequel, and maybe 20 years time from now, they have 8 Backrooms movie, and everybody knows what the Backrooms is, right? But, like, for some reason, if I'm just saying, a sequel doesn't get made in 20 years, I still think a lot of people are gonna know the Backrooms, right? Like, a lot of people still know Blair Witch Project. There's, like, what, 1 or 2 of those? There's not, like, 800 of those, so, like and it was a really good film. It's known for being a really good film. So, I think, obviously, The Backrooms is gonna go a lot of people's collection, and I cannot wait to get it on 4K when it comes out, especially on, for me. Alright, moving on to the last part, or, like, second to last part, my favorites of the film. Alright, so my favorite shot. Alright, I actually have 2 favorite shots about this film. I kinda talked about one of them earlier, but my first one is gonna be, uh hold on. Oh, yes, it's gonna be the chair scene. So, when Mark is trying to escape not Mark, sorry. When Clark is trying to escape the backrooms for that first time, and he's looking down in the chair scene, Like I kind of said, it's kind of like a window into the back rooms. Like obviously the door could be the window if you really wanted it to be, right? Like you can read into whatever you want. But to me, like the way it was framed from upwards, it looked like not only somebody was looking at him. Maybe it's the back rooms. Maybe it's a creature. Like I don't know. He didn't see anybody down there. He didn't like really react. But like it looked like a window, right? Like it looked like he was kind of like one. He was already trapped. Two, it was like he was looking down into the room, right? Like we were already saying, like he is a person that keeps going in deeper. So right, like he doesn't going to take the window out. He's going to take the window in. And it to me, I also really liked it because the chairs, like, containing him to that one corner, it was kinda like his life crushing in on him, choking him, and there was a lot of, like, choking, cinematography in this movie that I really liked, and I don't know, the scene that shot was really cool, I really liked that one. I don't wanna talk about it too much, we already kinda talked about it. The second one that I really liked was the last shot, the one with, Dr. Mary, where she's the replicant version, where she's in the chair. I don't know, there's such like, every time I see that, I just like it stops me for a minute. Like it's just such a really good scene. Something I also really like is like that last scene, like not shot, the scene where after like Dr. Mary kind of disassociates from reality and we kind of see all the new rooms in the back rooms. To me, it was kind of saying like this is the back room's newest like victims, right? And when we look at that shot of Dr. Mary, like yes, that's obviously the newest victim, but she's like so sad, right? Like, all the other ones are just kinda, like, sitting there. Like, yeah, they might be sad, but, like, she's super sad. She's looking down. She has a double face, right? Like, you can have if you wanna read into it like I do, you have, like, the moved on, and then you're stuck here, kinda like the real person, right? Like, you have your normal side, and you have your inner voice, right? You're stuck in your room, but it's open. The window is right there. It's open. I don't know. It's a really cool scene. Like we're talking about the window so much in the movie. We got Dr. Mary right there. I don't know. It felt so awesome, and I want to talk about this real quick because I forgot about it, and I was thinking about it when I first saw the movie. I wonder if the Backrooms was inspired by the short story, "The Woman with the Yellow Wallpaper," because like in that story too, like the lady gets driven insane, and here the same thing happens, right? Like I would love to. Maybe like when I get this channel like going for a fat minute, we could do like book reviews and short story reviews because I would definitely love to review that short story and then compare it with the back rooms. I would love to do that, and I would want to know like how much of this movie and other backrooms related content is actually based off of that. I would love to know that. I would love to know that. And that's kinda like a little bit like like, obviously, it's not the same story, like, there's a lot of other differences in that story, but, like, I kinda got a little bit of, like, same feeling from that shot too, or sorry, from this shot too. So I don't know, I really like these 2 shots, right? You have a Clark shot, you have a Dr. Mary shot. I or s s yeah, they both were, like, really, really good. They each give, like, kind of similar, like, stuck feelings, but also, like, a lot of different things. Like I said, the cinematography in the movie is really awesome. I don't know, like, quite literally, every time I see that shot, like, I'm just kinda, like, stuck staring at it, right? I was looking at it earlier on my phone, I just paused it, I just kept, like, analyzing it. And, like, I've said here before on the videos, like, if I'm watching a movie and I should be able to pause 9 times out of 10, I should be able to pause the movie, and the shot should be able to tell me almost everything about the movie, and that's what I love about these shots. It told me so much. As for my favorite scenes, so my first one is gonna be Dr. Mary and Pirate Clark. Which one is this one? Oh, no, sorry. This is Dr. Mary and Clark dinner scene. No, oh, no, okay, I had it right. I had it right the first time. Dr. Mark and Dr. Mary and Clark. So the scene I was talking about earlier where she's like going through the doors or like the spot space in between the doors and he's kind of still on the other side. There's so much emotion going on right there. Like she escaped, she was able to move on. She broke the one thing that was holding her to the past. Um she was able to like sneak through. She's able to move forward. She's able to get through that window. Clark is so big, his inner self consumed himself, became into a huge monster that he can't even fit through there, right? Like he's no longer human. He's grown beyond that. His bitterness and anger has grown beyond that. And when he tries to finally reach out to another human, can't get there. and his sadness on his face just feels really human, and the sadness on Dr. Mary's face is really real too. Like she feels sad for him. I like a little probably bit of pity, and then probably a little bit of sadness for herself that maybe she failed Clark. Like that scene was just really awesome, and then the fact that she has to walk, like turn around and just keep moving forward, that was like a genuine goodbye. You're like, wow. Like obviously it's a goodbye. It's the end of the movie, but like you get what I mean. Like that was a really strong scene for me. I don't know. I really liked that scene in the movie. I thought it was really nice. As for my second film, it's gonna be Clark, and it's the dinner scene, but it's mostly when Clark admits that he likes being stuck there. Um, I don't know, like, cause like I feel like that's one thing for a lot of people. Like they always like kind of tell themselves like, "Hey, I'm gonna change. Hey, I'm gonna do something new." Right? Like everybody says that. Like I'm gonna stop being like, letting this get to me. I'm gonna stop letting, my these actions repeat themselves. And then it happens again. But you know what? They're like, they keep telling themselves, I'm gonna change, I'm gonna change, I'm gonna change. And it's not a bad thing, right? Like it's not a bad thing to say you want to change and try to make yourself change. Like there's nothing wrong with it. Like that's a perfectly like great thing. But here, he's like, yeah, I'm not changing. And it's not just like I'm not changing. It's like genuine, like, I don't think I can change. I think I'm at peace finally with myself in the fact that I'm a bad person or like I'm not the best person here, right? Like I'm at peace with that. Right? Like he's at peace with being imperfect. He's not at peace with being a good person. He's at peace with being a broken person. And I thought that scene was really nice, especially when he's like, "I'm comfortable. I think I want to stay here," or something along the lines. Sorry, excuse me. So I thought those two scenes were phenomenal. I really liked them. Really, really liked them. As for my favorite quotes, the first one's really, really long because it's the one from the beginning. So I said I was going to say this earlier because I didn't want to say it earlier and then be here for like 2 minutes saying the quote because like it's a quote, but it's also like kind of a paragraph. So let's see if I can read my handwriting. So like I said, this is the one from the beginning of the movie where Dr. Mary is talking about patterns and her house is getting torn down. And we also get to see some of Clark. So like the talking, it kind of focuses on because yeah, okay, I guess it's even a better quote because like when she's talking and you're watching it, you're focusing on Mary, and then you transition to Clark and she's still talking. So you can like okay, well we're gonna read the quote in a minute. I want to see how much of it you know like if there's a transition even in the speech from one to one, right? But all right, anyway, so we all have loops, our habits. Oh, and I already can't read something. Believing that. Oh, uh, sorry, I can't read this. Oh, okay, here we go. Okay, I got the word now. We all have our loops, our habits, behavior that keeps us walking in circles, ready for the same solution, reaching for the same solution over and over again, thinking that they will take you somewhere new, but they don't. But still, uh, it's a wow. I really can't read my hand. It is a something path way of oh okay is the path of least resistance. Um, a path you made when you were basically a path you made when you were young that kept you safe, and when you were a child, you learned to push beyond. You learned to push everyone away before they could hurt you. But now, as an adult, you are still stuck right where you started, alone. So I guess like it talks to both of them because Dr. Mary is also very alone. Like when she's in her apartment, she kind of just sits there by herself. Like she doesn't have a boyfriend. Even when she's at her like house party, right? She's still thinking about her trauma. Like obviously she just went to her house and it got torn down, right? But like there's people talking to her. She's not paying attention, right? Like Clark, he got separated from his house, right? Now I wouldn't really say like we don't know much about Clark's childhood, but like maybe something in his childhood made him the way he is. Maybe he like I don't know, but I don't know. I really like this quote. Like obviously it's a lot better in the film, right? And actually when you can read read what the quote is, but I think this quote's really good. Like, it really sets the tone for a lot of, like, not only the movie, but just people in general. Like I was saying earlier, like, we have all these patterns that we go through and things that we do that the way we react to them is kind of like who we are, right? And whether we choose to react positively or negatively, that's the person that we end up becoming. Now we can always move on from that or go like deeper into that, but that's our choice. And like she says later in the movie about like windows, like no one's gonna help us. We have to choose that, right? Like although Dr. Mary went in there to go find and rescue Clark, she doesn't come back with him. Clark doesn't want to change. And I think this quote like just is really deeper than the movie itself. Like it's so much more about humans in general, and just the movie in general is too. But I really like this quote. I have one more quote, my last quote. I know you're like Josh. How do you have a favorite quote, scene, and shot? But there's multiple of them. That is a good question. That is a good question. Hold on, let me find my favorite quote real quick here. Now I have it here somewhere. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Okay. I don't think I want to change. This is the one. This is the one from the party scene. No, sorry, dinner scene. I don't think I want to change. Then don't. That's from Mary. I like it here. Sorry, that's the whole quote. But yes, that's the other one I really like because, like I said, a lot of people know that they have to change and then they don't. But like, sorry, they know they want to change, but then they don't. But they keep expecting like a different outcome without ever being like, you know what, I'm kind of just stay where the way I am. Clark actually decides to make that choice. He's like, you know what, I'm gonna stay the way I am, even though he's made a lot of bad choices and he knows the back room is not the safest, right? Like there's demons in there. Like, when I say demons, I mean like figuratively demons, right? Like his self demons and all that. Um, Right, and, like, he's becoming, like, one step closer to those deviants that don't feel pain, right? And, like, I think that's his goal, like, that's why he's so fascinated with them during the dinner scene, right? Because he's having all these issues that he's dealing with outside of the back rooms that, that's another reason why the back rooms are so appealing to him, like, I think he wants to just end up becoming numb to the real world, right? Like, there's so many of us that, like, wish probably to be like that, right? But we're like missing out on so many things, and that also makes us sad, right? So like if we were able to just like escape from it all and not have any moments where we're like that remind us that we are like living, breathing people, then like I think it would be a little easier for us. So I don't know. I really liked both quotes, right? Like in the back rooms, there's really not a lot of windows. Like what does the window lead to? Wallpaper. Right? Like Clark doesn't get to see what's out there anymore, and that doesn't have to bring him any more, trauma. Like he can just become oblivious to everything once again, and not have somebody not somebody like Dr. Mary remind him like, "Hey, you're the fucking issue here." And I think that is another reason why he gets so upset at her is because like he's finally in his safe place, and she's like, "The fuck are you talking about? You're the issue here." Right? So I thought that quote has a lot of layers to it too. Like I didn't realize how short it was, but I thought that was a really awesome quote. So I really liked that. Like I said, I really liked a lot about this movie. Basically, this is an awesome movie. I think everybody should see it. Now maybe everybody not might not love it because it is kind of a mind fuck of a movie, but it is genuinely a really good film. I hope you guys really like it. All the acting in here is amazing, design, all the production design, all the writing. Like I said, everything is top notch. I actually would love to see if this gets nomination this year. Now I know you're like, calm down, Josh, but I don't know. Like genuinely, I would love to see if this gets a nomination. Just, like, I don't know, just in general, I'd love to see what nominations it gets. I'm definitely gonna do an end of the year, like, video, not like okay. I'm gonna do, like, try to do an end of the year video, like, top movies or everything, and then I'm obviously gonna make a movie I was thinking end of, like, movie year, more so like Oscars. But yeah, I'm gonna do both because like, that's what I was mostly focusing on is, like, we'll see like once the Oscar noms get nominated, like is this in there? But yeah, this movie will probably return in my end of year like top 10 movies that I really liked. But yeah, like I said, everybody should definitely go see this. I think it might resonate with a lot of people that might be in situations where like they want to change but they just can't. They can't pull that trigger yet. I don't think a lot of people want to be Clarks. Right? I think a lot of people here want to be Dr. Marys, but we'll see. Like, hopefully, this resonates with a lot of people, like it did with me. I hope you guys really liked this movie. I really liked it. As for the official rating, I remember on the Joshua scale, we updated it last time. I think maybe I don't know. We're gonna up. We're just gonna say we did it. So the Joshua scale got updated. So Oh, that's right. Okay, no, that's wrong. That's wrong. I did not update it. We're gonna update it again. We're gonna update it here for the first time ever. I don't know why I said again. So if you guys know, usually how I rate my movies is on a scale of 0 to 5, halves included, which I call the Joshua scale. But we're gonna change. We're gonna change this. We're gonna change this because I feel like three, like just those numbers, like 0 point and then 0, 0.5, 1, I feel like that's not a great rating. And the reason I said 0 to 5s, halves included, is kind of like I've always done it that way, but like also because like Letterbox does it that way. But like what I say on here is not exactly what it's on Letterbox. So like, why should my rating be the same? I thought I updated it, but I just updated it in my head when I was talking about the Spider-Man movie to myself. But yeah, we're gonna update it. So we're gonna have 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, 0.5, right? Like, so half would be the halfway point from 0.5 to 1. But I'm gonna include those extra digits in there. So this one, it is gonna be a 4.7. No, sorry. It's gonna be a 4.4. I never like giving films. No, hold on. Sorry. Sorry, I didn't think about this earlier. I just put 4 out of 5 on my paper. It's gonna be a 4.2. No, it's gonna be a 4.3. We found the middle there. It's gonna be a 4.3. Alright, did I yes, this movie is gonna be a 4.3 out of 5 for me. I really, really loved this film. And I know if you're I know I'm saying that, but like when I say that, I mean like I liked it, right? Because I know like on Letterboxd, you're like, do you like the movie or do you not? Yes, I liked this film on top of really loving this film. So yes, this is a movie I enjoyed. Obviously, I officially rate it a 4.7. Oh, sorry, 4.3 out of 5 on the Joshua scale, and it was really good. Like I said, everybody should definitely watch this. It's an awesome, awesome, awesome movie that I can't not enjoy. Like I said, every time I go watch it, there's so many things about it that I just sit there and I'm like, oh wow, like how did I miss that the first time? And like that's every movie. Don't get me wrong, but like I don't know. There's a lot in this movie that you can take away. So really liked it. Like I said, I can't wait to see where it goes next. I can't wait to see what other creepypasta stuff we get. Can't wait to see what Kane Parsons cooks up next. Jeremy Cox cooks up next. Um, even like I said, some of the actors I really liked in here were really awesome. Like he would Mr. EJ04, he did an awesome job. Can't wait to see him as a main cast member again in another movie, and then especially Miss Renee Rainsve. I can't wait to see her again in another film. Like I said, I really want to watch Sentimental Value now, see how amazing she was in there. But yeah, that is gonna be my Backrooms movie review. There's gonna be another movie review coming out soon, hopefully, well, eventually. But I'm trying to get like another one done by the end of this week. That way, I can get a little more closer to catching up. And then I got some other cool ideas planned for you and for the channel. So if you guys like the video, let me know. As always, everything I talk about in this movie is a personal opinion. So if you don't really agree with it, one, let me know, cause right, like I like talking about movies on here. Obviously, that's why this video is almost 3 hours long. But I also like hearing other people's opinions. Like, what did you notice about this movie? Not only as a Backrooms fan, but a movie fan. Maybe a horror fan. Like, let me know. Like, what were some cool like things that you took away from this film that you thought were like really awesome? I'd love to chat it up with you guys. Just let me know down below. If there's any other movies you guys want me to check out, let me know. Let me know. Definitely check that out. Got some cool things planned. Got some cool things planned. Got some cool things planned just for the channel in general. Like we're gonna start doing some checking out some trailers every once a week, hopefully, when we get back on track. But yeah. Other than that, hope you guys have a good day. See you guys next time, you too.